Warning. You are entering Open Lines Friday. For today anything goes. Thank you for your cooperation.
I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Welcome to our show.
All right, this is King Bucho. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the Boxing Debate Arena, Open Lines Friday. You know how it works. Anybody can join. Everybody should join. The link is up. It's not in the description, but the link is in the chat, and I will be adding it also in the description. So, yeah, we can talk about anything you guys want. Obviously, we have a big fight tomorrow, a unification fight, a welterweight unification fight between Jaron Ennis and Stanionis. So I don't know if you guys saw that picture of Jaron Ennis. He looks skinny as hell. I don't know how he's making 154. Sorry, 147. He should be going up to 154. But like I always say, I think the money is at 147 right now. You have you have guys like Ryan Garcia moving up, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez is going to be there if he's not already there in his next fight. So yeah, and why move up to 154? I mean, yeah, there's some money fights there, but it's much more risk. All right, we have Mr. BDA here. Welcome to the show. Yo, and we have Never Sobers as well. What's up, guys?
What up? What up?
So yeah, I was talking about Ennis and that picture where he looks like he's malnourished.
He looks like he's Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, he looks like a zombie, man. So I was reading some comments on Twitter, and some people are saying that that might affect his chin. He might be chinny now. That's possible. I mean, he looks terrible.
You know what? I was talking about this in one of the VCs with some of the dudes, right? And I brought up a conversation that I had with my pops a long time ago, and we're talking about the amount of CTE you see in American fighters, like mostly Black Americans, right? And I was talking to him, and I made the point. I was like, yo, how come you see guys like Meldrick Taylor, Riddick Bowe, Ali, just the list goes on and on of these dudes that have these defensive guys, James Toney that have their mush mouth later on, and they have CTE like really bad. And I was asking my pops, why do you think they have that? You see like Mexican dudes, Hispanics, Duran, Chavez, who was known to take punishment, Barrera, Morales, even Maidana. These guys don't have CTE. They don't have mush mouth. They don't have that, right? And I was thinking, what is that? You know, is it like a skull thing? Is it a brain thing? But we came around the conclusion is that I think Americans make the biggest weight cuts, right? Because they have sports science here, and they're the one that are usually like a lot bigger than their opponents in the ring. They're usually comfortably bigger than their opponents, and they do these big weight cuts throughout their entire careers. We're seeing it with guys like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Boots Ennis. These guys are cutting Terrence Crawford. They cut a lot of weight, and you know they could be quote unquote elusive, but they still end up with CTE like mushmouth. And I don't think it's the damage they take. I think it's the amount of dehydration they're doing to their brain over and over throughout their careers. So this guy, what I think Jaron Ennis is doing right now is he is deteriorating his chin. He's also deteriorating his brain, you know, by making these weight cuts. That shit just doesn't look healthy.
It's a very percipient point right there from Never Sobers. I gotta tell you, it is true. That is true because Terry Norris, Meldrick Taylor, Ali, James Toney, these guys end up with CTE and they're supposed to be defensive masters. For a while, I thought that it was maybe because they get away with clinching in fights. So what I was thinking was that maybe that's the way they train too. Like when they're boxing, they'll clinch, or sometimes they're boxing well for about 5-6 rounds, and then they gotta just stay there and try to clinch. And if they can't clinch, they just put the earmuffs up. I've seen a lot of clips of that. I've seen clips on Tank Davis and other people from the Mayweather gym. I'm not saying Tank Davis from the Mayweather gym, but he's been there a lot, especially in the past. And it's just a random 15-second clip. So who knows if that's actually how the entire rounds go, but they're just standing there with the earmuffs up taking punches. Or if you watch the Tank Davis, Devin Haney sparring session too, there's a point in the after a couple of rounds that they're just standing there taking punches with the earmuffs up. So I think it may be that too, but I think what Never Sober said might be the overbearing and overwhelming cause of a lot of the CTE. That's true. And I know people are going to say, well, everyone else cuts huge amounts of weight. Yeah, that's true. But not as much as some of these guys. There's always an exception to the rule, right? But Never Sober brings up a very keen point right there.
Yeah, you rarely see like Mexicans or
well, they're unable to do it. They don't have the sports science, right? Like in places, not even just Hispanic. It like, you know, places like Africa too. These guys aren't doing that as much. You know what I mean? Or Siberia, like what's his name, Ruslan or Vakanov. He wasn't doing that guy right there. He was a punching bag, right? But he's not like that right now. He don't talk like it right now.
But the other thing is, we don't see. When's the last time we heard Ruslan Prodanikov?
I spoke to him on the phone 2 weeks ago.
No, but I mean, it would be interesting to talk to these guys or see them, the interviews from them, see how they're doing. Jose Luis Castillo is another guy that he had sneaky defense, but he would take shots as he was willing to work his way on the inside. And he was on the Morales Barrera podcast not that long ago, and he seemed fine. You know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys have something, but CTE to the point of a James Toney or of a Meldrick Taylor or Terry Norris, that's a good point. The other thing is, we were talking about, I saw a long discussion on Discord, on our main Discord, about tomorrow's fight between Stanionis and Ennis, and there's a feeling that Ennis is not a weight bully, which is weird because, I mean, he himself brought it up after the Karen rematch, and brought up the weight issue as maybe a reason why to explain his subpar performance. So evidently there is something going on. And then we just saw that photograph earlier this week where he just looks emaciated. And then, but like I said in the last episode, Stanionis as well. There's a caveat to him. He's only fought once in the past 2.5 years. Remember, he didn't fight. He only had one fight in 2022. That was in April. That was on the Spence Ugas undercard. All right. He didn't fight at all the rest of that year. So what is it, like 8 months, thereabouts, maybe 7.5? Then he doesn't fight the rest of 2023. That's 19 months right there. I think he didn't fight until September 2024, I believe. I could be wrong. So it's over. It's almost over a 2-year layoff. And he had one fight against Maestre, who's a good test for a comeback fight. He didn't look spectacular in that fight, but maybe it's like with Virgil Ortiz. He went through Bojack, he went to war, and he seemed to have gotten the rust out of there once he fought Madrimov. So maybe it's going to be the same thing with Stanionis. Maybe those 12 rounds against Maestre were enough to sharpen him up. But there's a lot of what ifs coming into this fight.
Yeah, well, what if the referee? I just found out who it is.
Who is it?
I'm gonna post a picture here.
All right, let me see.
I'm gonna give you also the box rec, his resume. I don't know what the fuck you call it. So you can see every fight that he refereed. I don't know. Maybe you remember him more than I do. Is he a good referee? Looking at.
Okay, can I ask why Store is still? I'm looking at the screen. Why Store is still there, man, in the lower half portion of the screen?
Where in the here? I don't know.
I
like
because you know what?
I like the post. You know what I mean? Like
the last episode you did the thumbnail. You put him on there, and then people immediately once we started the podcast, I was looking at the comments. People were like, "Oh, BDA strikes again." It's like, I didn't make the thumbnail.
No, he was the last.
Look at him. Come on. And why is he pink? Why is he in hot pink?
I wanted him to blend in with the background. You know, like.
Yeah, bullshit, man.
No, yeah, 'cause this was the last week's episode, like last Friday.
All right.
Time to go, Torres. But yeah, what we're talking about? Yeah, the referee.
You were gonna, the ref.
So take a look at his box rec. I'm gonna post a picture on so people can see who I'm talking about. His name is
because I don't even know who
David Fields. I've seen him before, but of course I don't remember which fight.
David Fields. Sounds like a serial killer name.
Yeah, are you looking at the box rec? That I sent you.
Oh wait. That's the guy that almost let Shannon Briggs kill a guy in the ring, Fatso. And he's the same guy that let Shakur Stevenson bust Conceição's balls for 12 rounds. That's David Fields? Okay. Bad news right there, man. Bad news for Stanionis.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you think he's going to favor Stanionis? Come on.
No, he won't. Yeah.
Ask that again.
No, go ahead.
No, I was asking VDA to repeat the question.
No, I was asking. No, I thought you said I'm all right, Spider.
Okay, come on. You keep saying that using the same fucking joke. Go ahead.
What? I didn't even know what question. I didn't ask a question though. That's what I don't get. I don't understand what he's talking about. Oh no, okay, no, yeah, I did. I asked a rhetorical question because you said, "Oh, you think he's not going to favor Stanionis?" I said, "What?" You said, "Do you think he's going to favor Ennis?" And I said, "What? You think he's going to favor Stanionis?"
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ennis is the A side. He's the American. He's the one with the up. What's the word? He's the one with the silver lining. They want to make him into the next pound for pound star. There's not, contrary to what some people come in here on Open Lines Friday, because again, it's an open panel, anybody can come in. But I've heard some people come in like, "Oh, Americans dominate boxing." They don't in the heavyweight division. They don't in the light heavyweight division. They don't in the middleweight division. So I mean, lightweight and welterweight, they have lightweight is where they have the most names concentrated. Then at after that, it gets. Yes,
they got on their stars and spangled glasses on. You know what I mean? Well, they're stuck in the 90s. They're stuck in the 90s.
But the reason why I bring that up is because, again, I'm bringing it back to the whole Ennis thing, that they might be favoring Ennis in this fight. And let's not forget that there's some inconsistencies there too, because there was the other referee, Harvey Duck. He was the referee for Ennis versus Karen, the rematch. He took a point away from Ennis for clinching, but he never did that in the first fight between Farmer and Cepeda. So, and Haney Garcia, he let both those guys clinch because those both guys were A-sides. You know what I mean? Like, well, we know Garcia is a real A-side because he brings in more money, but the industry seems to favor Haney, or at least at that point they did, because, they wanted to build him up. It's almost like they left it up to let's see what happens. But again, Harvey Duck didn't take a point away from Farmer for all the clinching he did in the first Cepeda fight. But then he takes away one from the Karen in the Ennis rematch. And I didn't see the clinching from the Karen. I didn't see it as being that much worse than what Cepeda was doing. So you got to wonder what these refs are thinking. Their selective enforcement of the rules.
It's it's unfortunate, right? But it's like an unspoken rule. We know when a fighter is American, the judge is American, the referee is American, the judges, I wonder where they're all from. They're probably all American. Of course, a guy from a different country, Stanionis can win the fight. That doesn't mean they're going to give him the fight. He has to beat the shit out of Boots in order to get the fight, right?
Yeah.
So we know what Harvey Dock's going to do. It could be Harvey Dock. As we've seen, it could be Steve Willis. It could be any of these motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't
you know what? You're right.
He refereed Foster Conceição. I think
Foster Conceição, but the first one, the controversy was a decision. It wasn't necessarily the referee. I don't remember him doing anything. See, the fact that I don't remember him from that fight means he actually did a okay job. But I was sober. So I get a feeling that, and Butch, I get a feeling that on Saturday we might have something to say about this referee. I just get a feeling. I mean Sunday on the post-fight show. I got a feeling this guy's gonna come up again. What's his name? David Fields.
David Fields, yes.
Yeah, it's a serial killer name right there, if I ever heard one. In 1969, David Fields murdered.
Fields.
David Fields murdered 15 homosexual men.
Now, BDA, why are you already making excuses for Stanionis here?
I mean, if I wanted to make excuses, I would say that, right? All I'm saying is I got a bad feeling about this guy, and I'm backing it up with evidence about his past performances. So I'm not pulling this out of my ass. Ass to ass.
Can I go back on the subject?
Yeah. Go ahead.
When I was saying that these guys are still living in the 90s when they talk about this American dominance. If you could, who would you say was the last great American heavyweight? And let's say before Wilder, right? Because that's what people are. Is that what people are going to say? It was Wilder. Let's take him out of the equation. Before him, when did the era of the great American heavyweight stop? Was
Holyfield?
Was Holyfield, right?
Chris Bird.
But he was very good, but he wasn't great.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, great. Yeah, Holyfield.
Holyfield, and he was done by 1990. Yeah, by 2000 he was done technically. I mean, he still had a couple of interesting fights afterwards, but for all intents and purposes, he was no longer great post 2000. And don't get me started on Holyfield, because then Chief is gonna jump in and he's gonna turn this into the Holyfield.
Where's he from again? BDA.
Georgia.
Atlanta, I believe. Yeah.
He's from Atlanta. That's right. Don't y'all forget.
All the so he's Wilder, right?
That was my point. Not just playing.
Hey, do you think that's? I don't want to sidetrack too much here, but I mean, there's not much to talk about other than the Stanionis Ennis fight, which is interesting because last week we had a whole bunch of fights. Neither one was that big, but there were good, okay fights spread across the day. Tomorrow it's only one fight that I can think of. So it's an interesting contrast. But I wanted to ask about that Holyfield. Because after Usyk beat Fury, essentially cementing himself as the best heavyweight of this generation, at least, people started saying, well, what about Holyfield? Could he have competed with this generation, or could he have dominated this generation of heavyweights? And you know what? Before people answer and say, well, he's too I mean, you know what? Can I just agree with that and say that if you watch that Lennox Lewis rematch, maybe Lennox Lewis took him lightly in the rematch, thinking it was going to be as easy as the first fight. Evander Holyfield gave him hell, and that was a past his peak Holyfield. So I can only imagine look at how he went to war with fucking Riddick Bowe, who was 6 feet 5 inches tall.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Holyfield was competing with guys that are around the size of heavyweights today. Mm-hmm. And just like how Usyk was a cruiserweight, he came up and won and beat all the heavyweights. Holyfield showed that can be done before him. Mm-hmm. So I think most definitely, especially with his gas tank, that dude can fight for 15 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing though too is people could say, well, what about the Riddick Bowe fights? He lost 2 out of the 3 fights, but let's not forget in the third fight he was doing very well. He actually dropped Riddick Bowe in that fight. So give him 2 shots at Joshua and 2 shots at Fury. I'm pretty sure he comes out of there with at least. I mean, yeah.
If you're saying that, if you guys are saying that the heavyweight division now is not as good. I mean, first of all, there's really no American boxers, and then we also talked about how there's these other boxers from the UK, for example, from wherever, they're not as good. Then is Timothy Bradley correct in saying that Usyk is not an all-time great heavyweight?
I wasn't trying to say that boxers. Oh, go ahead, Vidya.
No, go ahead, Sobers. Go ahead. I talk.
Okay, well, when I was that's right, but Anyway,
you were supposed to say nah. But anyway,
But what I was trying to make my point was like, with these stars and spangled banner and glasses on, they're living in the '90s. They still think that American heavyweights dominate boxing, and it's not that boxing's gone worse because Americans aren't dominating the heavyweight division. Is that the sports has caught up? The rest of the world has caught up and like kind of moved on from them. And people can say, "Oh, heavyweights, they're not in boxing because they're playing football, they're playing basketball." I mean, when these sports were also alive and well in the '60s, the '70s, and the '80s. So that's not really a viable excuse to me, right? That, these guys are out to play other sports. Those sports existed back at the same time.
Well, you know what? So, you bring up a good point because people, I hate to have to bring up Canelo in this, but when I've heard somebody called in one time, they said, Canelo's run at super middleweight wasn't that great. He beat a bunch of domestic level European guys. I'm thinking, wait a minute, why is being European a bad thing? Like, right. That's why That's why Precise and Thunderdome came up. I forget which one of them came up with the whole Ameribomb thing, because you say, okay, Canelo beat a bunch of European guys. Well, what were the Americans then? What were the exceptional American fighters that he was supposed to fight? What, Andre and Charlo? We saw what happened to those guys. So Willie Monroe? We saw what Billy Joe Saunders is doing. So yeah, like Sobers is saying, there is a bit of a, when people say, the heavyweight division is not good. Why? Well, because there's no Americans. Well, maybe it's because the Europeans are taking them out, man. I don't know.
I think they're still stuck in the past.
They're getting beat up.
Yeah, but they're still, like Sobers said, they're still stuck in the past. I mean, there was some time where America did dominate. Also, I mean, you had the Cold War and the what's the Iron Curtain and all that shit. So these communist countries weren't going professional. These communist boxers. So now everything's changing, and yeah. Somebody wants to say something.
Well, to wrap up my point about it was like they were saying that there's no Americans around. If you look back at it realistically, when 2025, you said Holyfield's done around 2000. There hasn't been any Americans around for about 25 years, a quarter of a century.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then we're talking about specifically the heavyweight boxing division, right?
Yeah. Well, there's the super middle division that used to belong to Roy Jones, and the light heavyweight division that used to be, Antonio Tarver, Bernard Hopkins, but those guys are done. They're not around anymore. So who do you got after that?
Yeah,
no one knows.
Shad Dawson at some point kind of was there, but he was one of the few.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah,
he beat a bunch of old guys too.
The divisions go through waves. Do you remember, like, not that long ago, 160 was a hot division. Now there's nobody there. So yeah, divisions will be hot, and then like when it's not Canelo's fault that these guys were all B-level fighters, but that was the truth. They were all B-level fighters. So I mean, these divisions get hot, and then the guys move up. They retire. They move on. So that's normal in boxing. I mean, look how good the lighter weights are. When they went through a little bit of a drought.
But that's an interesting point when those guys are B-level, where there can only be so many A sites. I mean, you're never going to find 3 A sites. It's very rare to find 3 A sites per division. So if the guy beats all the B sites, he proves he's the A-level fighter.
Well, it's kind of like women's boxing. That like there's like divisions where there's there's no talent, like where Clarissa Shields is fighting, and then you have the lighter weights that are full. But then they move up and down. You know what I mean? Like look at welterweight. Welterweight was like hot. Now it's kind of heating up again. Before a minute there, it was dead because there was really nobody there anymore. You know what I mean? Spence wasn't there. Crawford moved up. Barrios had a belt. That's like, man.
I wanted to go back to what Brad about the Bradley thing, where he said, that if the division isn't that good, the heavyweight division isn't that good, what does that make of Usyk's accomplishments? Well, yeah, that is interesting, because I'd like to ask the people who were saying, a lot of people were picking Usyk unanimously and saying, it's gonna be easy. All he has to, like, they made it seem like all he had to do was show up and win. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, so yeah, if you really thought that about Fury, then were you saying that because Usyk was that good, or because Fury is bad, or is it a combination of both? I'd like to ask, but I don't know if anybody here picked it that
I think
way.
It's because he was so gifted. He was so much smaller than these guys. Yeah, I don't think these heavyweights like were all that. I mean, they're just big, and like you look at it was Wilder, Joshua, Fury, I think was overrated. But the fact that Usyk was coming in that much smaller, beating up guys that were 30 pounds heavier than him, just using footwork, and it's like David and Goliath. I think that's where you see like, whoa, this is levels right here. You know what I mean? Even though these guys are overrated, this guy's beating him up, and he's way smaller than him.
Mm-hmm. Grim Reaper in the chat says they were saying Fury was the greatest of all time before Usyk beat him. I think a guy
Wait,
like
what?
a casual like Joe Rogan might have said that, but I don't remember too many knowledgeable boxing fans in our sphere saying, "Hey, Fury's the greatest heavyweight of our generation."
Well, that's what ESPN's going to say. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do. I mean, think about it. If you're a promoter and you're Tyson Fury's promoter, you're ESPN, you're supposed to hype these guys up to the greatest thing, because if you ever watch a UFC, every fight is, oh my God, this is the highest level fight of the year. This is the fight of the year candidate, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, they hype everything up. I mean, that's just their job, is to sell it.
Oh no! Wait a minute. Yeah, Grim Reaper is correct. Grim Reaper. I think he was saying Usyk. Yeah, no. Fury. A lot of people were talking about how he was one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
But who though? I mean, I heard a bunch of
like Southpaw say, that promoters obviously, but there was this talk about how
I never heard that unanimously from. I mean, I never heard that from too many people. I heard that from some. I would see some of those on Twitter, and then I would click on their pages, and it's all Arsenal. It's all soccer and all that. And I go, okay, these guys don't really watch much boxing. So
there was respectable guys. There was respectable guys saying that, like Bradley, like some of these guys on some. These
wait a minute, you can't say respectable. You can't say respectable. You can't say respectable and Bradley in the same sentence. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Well, but they were saying like,
yeah, I mean, Bradley, listen, Bradley was putting that mantle on Fury that he was an all-time great heavyweight.
Oh.
So, but when Usyk beat Fury, all of a sudden, he's not an all-time great. Okay, I see what you're going.
But see, what's crazy is the heavyweight division is a whole nother division now. Now it's a super heavyweight division, where back in the day, like Ali, all the greats would have been light heavyweights. You know what I mean? So that's the weird dynamic that's going on, because athletes are getting bigger, stronger, taller. Like it's crazy. Like it's just evolution. Look at the NFL, man. Like if you look at football players from the 80s and you look at them today, they don't even look like they're in the same class.
Yeah, but somebody said that in boxing, that's like, what's the opposite of evolution? Devolution? They're devolving. Yeah. They're devolving because a guy like Usyk just exposed them. So maybe
and not for nothing, but you can only wonder what Povetkin could have done. Like a prime Povetkin, what could he be doing here right now? Because he got this shot at Klitschko, and they allowed that guy to clinch, essentially sexually molesting. Yes, he sexually molested him. Yeah, and then when he fights Joshua, by that time he couldn't keep up. He didn't have the gas tank anymore to go for 12 rounds. So, I mean, a guy like, but that does make what Usyk did somewhat impressive, because he beat guys that were bigger than him,
much bigger,
and not by. Yeah, so Fury. I was watching that Ring TV put a special behind the scenes cinematic video about the Fury Usyk rematch, and there's a clip. I gotta show you the screen cap at one point, but you can see it's taken from Usyk's back, and you can see Fury coming at him, and Fury looks like what it must be like to be boxing that guy. It looked like a Frank Rosetta painting, like a warrior and in the face of a fucking giant coming at him. That's what it looked like. And I said, listen, you can say Fury's not that skilled, overrated, blah, 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 whatever, but he's got enough skills combined with his size that makes him a formidable foe. And the fact that Usyk beat him twice, 24 rounds.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, especially for his size, the way he moves, the way he jabs. He's herky-jerky. But, I wouldn't, when it comes to, let's put him in the all-time greats, it's like I said, it's sticky, man, because these guys they're a whole nother weight class now.
Also, Usyk has some advantages over them, too. He's more mobile than these big guys. He's got a better gas tank than a lot of them. He can just basically out cardio a lot of them on top of his skill set. So he's not completely outgunned in there. So just say it.
Yeah, I mean, you do need special qualities like Tyson. There's been heavyweights Tyson's size, but they can't do what he did because they lack the speed and the power that he had. So you do need some special weapons. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna go in there, and Usyk really, like you say, he did have that speed and the gas tank. Redwood, now that you're here, because tomorrow is the Ennis Stanionis fight.
Your guy.
Pretty sure you're excited about
your guy.
Okay, Victor Conti, my guy. But I'm pretty sure you're excited about the fight. But I just want to ask you something, because you were going at it with some people last night on the Discord, and about the weight and all that. You said that it doesn't matter. Like all you have to do is make the weight on fight night, and that's it. No more complaining. Blah blah blah. But you also said that when Garcia fought Tank, you were on Tank's side about the dehydration clause. Like, hey, Garcia's a big guy. So I'm just curious, what's your stance on the weight making?
I mean, Ryan agreed to fight at that, and Ryan has fought at 135 before. So I believe they even gave him a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? A relief. They said, you know what, we're not even going to make it 135. We'll make it 138.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but I remember when we talked about it after the fight, and I said, why bring up a dehydration clause? What's the point? And you said, well, look at Ryan Garcia. Look at the size of him. And now Ennis, right. Ennis is a fucking, come on, man. He's a super middleweight in there. Like, you don't think he's using that to his advantage in there?
yeah, but Stanionis might be short, but he's not little.
That's true. That's true. He's a compact guy.
When did the weigh
Yeah.
take place?
We need the what?
Where?
When? At
Or
what time?
when?
When? Like the official weighing? Like that? Not the official. I mean the official. When they make because there's the ceremonial weighing, and then
In the morning?
Yeah, they do it in the morning.
Why
the morning
are
of
they
the
doing it in
weigh-in.
the morning now? What's going on?
Oh, they weaponized it the way Devin Haney did with the 36-hour hydration. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because that's what's messed up, man. They're gonna keep pushing it. You see, this is how they keep pushing things in their favor, and they're using like hyperhydration and IVs probably. I mean, I like Victor Conte, but like when people give slack to Snack, like I don't defend them because I'm like, man, like you never know, like what are these guys doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to defend. I mean, I know Bill Haney once said he was getting pressed on it, and he said, well, it's like the FBI, if they have they can consult a child molester. And that's like, well, wait a minute, but the child molester is not going to the school anymore. And that is the equivalent here with Victor Conte. He's involved with the sport, giving Devin Haney shit and putting shoving stuff down his throat. So, and the thing I'd like to ask Bill Haney would be like, okay, if Victor Conte is giving him something that could be considered illegal, that's giving him an unfair advantage, how would you know? You're not an expert either. If your son is all jacked up and killing people in the ring, you'd be like, yeah, but that's because my son's a badass. He's not gonna go, my son's probably on something, or he would never admit it. So yeah, there's no defense for having Victor Conte or Memo Herrera in the sport, and that's why I don't know. People just don't talk about it enough.
I mean, I've hung out with Victor Conte a couple of times. He's a cool guy. I think he's one of those guys that is in the sport because he's like more of an informant. You know how like the cops use like these guys that were on the streets, like, hey man, all right, like now you're gonna help us out. Like, and that's like with the FBI, they'll hire hackers if they're that good, and they hack it like, hey man, you're a good hacker, we'll just hire you. You know what I mean? So they're called white hat hackers, I think. But with Conte, I think it's the same thing. But if he gets like some suspicion, this is boxing, man. I don't know. Like when I hear the 36-hour weigh-in, I'm like, man, before you know it, they're gonna have like 2-day weigh-ins, and you're gonna keep seeing these guys coming in overly sized. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. It's just like, I don't know, man. It's like the fighters. That's something the fighters should fight against. But he's the A side, so that's what he's going to get the treatment. He's going to be able to do what he wants.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of fighters sort of justify it to themselves, like, well, everyone else is doing it, so I might as well do it as well. Or sometimes there's a possible deniability where the guy doesn't tell him what he's giving them. He's just like, oh, here's a shake, or here's an injection. It's it's to help boost you up and help with recovery. And the guy's like, all right, why would he want to know what he's taking? If he ever tests hot, he can always say, well, I didn't know. I don't take shit like that. I'm natural. Stuff like that. But
I mean, unless they're doing true 365, which nobody is, then you won't know they're clean, because people think you're supposed to juice during the fight, before the fight. No, you're supposed to juice when you're on your downtime. So you juice to the gills, you train hard, you train like an animal, you go at 100% every day because you never get sore because it's for recovery. And then you start, once the fight's announced, you kind of cycle down to where there's a window where once the fight's announced and you kind of bring your levels back down, but you're still going to have like a window of those benefits from it. You know what I mean? I used to follow this stuff real closely with Steve Kim's guy. He used to work, Gabe Montoya. Man, he broke that shit down like for dummies like me to understand, the science. And even Michael Montero, he did a lot of that stuff too. So there's a way you time it, and you juice when you're not fighting, when you're on your off time.
Now, if you really like the guy, you shouldn't be calling him Gay Montero. I mean, I'm just saying it sounds weird.
Oh, Gabe Montero. Yeah.
No.
No,
Well, it sounded like you were calling him Homo Montero or Montoya or something. I don't know. That's what it sounded to me. It sounded to me.
I mean, he does theater, man. But hey, if he is, I don't care.
Well, yeah, I didn't say that. You keep piling on, man. What's the matter with you? But it's interesting. Yeah, it's true though. It's these guys. I mean, and then it's all so advanced too. On top of that, and by the way, you just reminded me. That's what I wanted to say. Jermell Charlo. Remember that when in the rematch to the Castaño fight, he said, because he got postponed the rematch, and then he goes in the press conference. He goes, "Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you for delaying the fight because it's only going to make me stronger, faster, bigger." And I'm thinking, wait a minute, who gets if you know about boxing is if you're natural, you hit a peak at some point in training. You don't become faster. You don't become stronger. So essentially, he was. I don't know. I think he was sort of revealing what he was. He might have been revealing what he was doing.
Hey, the Charlos. Hey, and again, you guys can take it, or for you can say I'm full of shit or whatever. I'm down here in Texas. I know fighters who grew up with them and actually traveled with them when they were amateurs. These guys, they were on the growth hormone, dude.
Jimmy said that I forget where he heard it from, but he said that he was. I know both Charlos didn't train with Shields, only one of them, but he was talking about Shields' gym, that they got a bad reputation of, like there's a lot of stuff giving out there in the locker room. And remember with the Charlos, when they went missing in 2018, I think it was Vada or USADA, I forget which one, they were looking for them, couldn't find them. They tried to contact them on the phone number that they gave them, no answer. And then they said, when they got confronted about it, they said, well, we had media obligations, but there's no record of them doing any type of media that day. So nothing ever came out of that, but that's the way they roll.
And I'm close to my source. My source is like really close to me, so I won't ever call them out, but I know they did. That when he said it. And it just came up in conversation. It wasn't like we were gossiping or anything. We were just kind of talking about casual stuff when we were on the way to go spar. But yeah, but it also depends on the jurisdiction, because when it came to fights, we were getting a lot of big fights down here in San Antonio. There was instances where Canelo was getting away with it, and especially Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. had just popped dirty. He fights down in Texas, and then all of a sudden the commission forgets to test him when he fought Rubio. And then Rubio tried to file suit, and of course it didn't go nowhere. But then the commission and then the WBC were going back and forth with each other, like, oh, it's our fault. No, it's our fault. We forgot. No, it's our fault. We forgot. But it just got swept under the rug. And when Canelo fought Trout, he was cheating. I just, I've talked to, I can't say who I talked to, but he was cheating.
Didn't that happen too with Chavez in Texas too? With I don't know if it was against Andy Lee. There was some fuckery going on there too.
Yeah, because he would blow up. He would look like he's like a prisoner of war during the weigh-ins, and then weigh in naked, and then the next day he comes in like just full blown. Like I know when Rubio fought him, he said he felt like he was on skates. He just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And he was pissed off that they didn't drug test him, but he had just recently got popped in Cali for PED. So, man, in Texas, we have a great market, but our commission is probably the worst one in boxing. Like, they're for sale.
You should do something about it.
All right, so you guys...
I know some of the referees and the judges. Some of them are cool, but, it's all about money, man. In the end, this isn't a sport. It's a business. And it's a business dressed up like a sport. So it's money. That's all it is, about money. Look at what Floyd had locked down in Vegas. Man, there's so many red flags, but nobody wants to pin it on him because they're scared of defamation suits.
So is Jaron Ennis a weight bully, or so is he gonna have an advantage or a disadvantage because he looks terrible? So what do you guys think?
He's playing with fire.
He's playing with fire.
Yeah, I hope it works against him because I don't like seeing the whole 36-hour weight draining thing. And he admits he gets heavy. So, I mean, we saw with Raymond Ford when he lost the ball. That was because, he even said, "Man, I should have moved up." And you see a lot, even you see it all the time. Look at Virgil Ortiz. Dude got rhabdo. So, I'm hoping that Stanionis comes in fresher and cracks him, man, because I don't like seeing the whole 36-hour hyperhydration.
That's not gonna happen. We're gonna get a Floyd Gotti.
I mean, how
No,
old
I'm
is he?
kidding.
How old is he now? How old is Boots? Because it also depends on age.
27, I
He's
think.
27. 27.
Yeah, when you're young,
I
you
think.
just still get away with it. But I don't know, man. Like he's a huge. I mean,
I don't blame him because I don't hate to say it, but Crawford and Spence held the division for a long time. Virgil couldn't get any of the champions or the contenders. Stanionis couldn't get any of the contenders or the champions, and obviously Boots couldn't either. So they just
but
had to sit
Virgil
on the
turned him down.
sidelines
Virgil
and
turned down. Virgil turned down Crawford. They said we're not ready. Which like I give him props. He's like, hey, I'm still coming up. I'm not ready for that fight. I don't think he said he's not ready because he's scared. He was just being honest. Like, yo, we're not at that point yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and Boots was offered the Crawford fight, but his father said they were loyal to Showtime. Deke.
I don't think that fight was ever going to happen. But there's no. I just don't see Crawford fighting Boots as a quote unquote tune up before Earl Spence. That doesn't even sound right. But either way, yeah. Now that those guys are gone, this is their chance to make a name, their mark in the welterweight. So if you got to stay a little bit longer than what you had to, it is what it is. Maybe after this fight, they can move up. He can move up.
Yeah, it's the best fight they can make. Now, again, there's a couple of asterisks because of Stanionis' inactivity, and then Ennis killing himself to make the weight, and the fact that neither guy has looked stellar in the last performance. So it's still a good fight. But yeah, I think that the winner should definitely, especially if it's Ennis, he should definitely move up because that's where the money is. Right now, there's not. I mean, if he fights Barrios, maybe he can get a decent payday. But what does that really do, beating Barrios? I mean, Keith Thurman,
Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia could have went after Barrios.
I would say, I would rather see Norman take that belt from Barrios. That way, it would shorten the route to undisputed, and now you got two fighters with two belts going for undisputed. That'd be a good.
Well, that's an interesting point. Do you care about the whole belt thing? Because apparently this fight is for the Ring Magazine title. So does it really matter?
Yeah. I mean, that's perceived to be the best matchup in the welterweight division right now. So yeah, they perceivably it is. Being that it's a unification.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then if Ennis were to stay at 147, I would. I mean, yeah, the next logical guy would be Norman. But I don't really care about whether he has the WBC or IBF. This is the IBF, one, right? By the way, or which one is this?
IBF WBO?
Yeah, it's the IBF and the WBA that's at stake. WBA. And Brian Norman has the WBO, but Barrios is WBC. Rebecca Canan.
And Norman won it via email too, right?
They're all email title holders, but
I mean, there you go.
Boots just wants to go undisputed to separate himself from the rest.
Now, if Ennis wins, because I think that's what the industry wants, they want him to win, and he has the Ring Magazine title, can he go to the Sheik and go, hey man, give me this amount of money because I'm the Ring Magazine. I was the Ring Magazine champion at 147.
I don't know.
I mean, you gotta parlay that into a bigger fight at 154. I mean, again, 147. It's not about the accolades; it's about the names. And the names are kind of less known than the time where Errol Spence and Crawford and Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia were there. So to me, it's all about the names that really gets people excited.
I mean, Boots doesn't have a following, bro. I mean, yeah, it sucks that the young lion didn't get a shot at the old lion and Crawford, but man, Boots, he nobody knows who this guy is. The dude is and it sucks because I really like the guy, but there's no hype.
Yeah, it's like America's best kept secret because the dude has over 30 fights, and he's finally got a big fight in front of him.
He's unifying now.
It's funny that Virtuoso said that because my girl asked me earlier, is anybody fighting tomorrow? I was like, oh yeah, this dude from Philadelphia. And she was like, oh yeah, so nobody?
Come on. You gotta set her straight. First of all, that's number one. Number two, you gotta straighten her out a little bit. Ennis did draw well, right, for the Avenisian fight, I think. So it just goes to show you, if you want to build a star, you gotta start locally. You can't fucking take him to Vegas and think that, because that's what was happening in the late 2000s. You had, there was even a Ring Magazine article about it. It was Tim Bradley, Chad Dawson, not Junior Witter, Tim Bradley, Chad Dawson, the other names will come up, but they were talking about how these guys couldn't sell. And Chad Dawson, who was from Connecticut, they were taking him to a fucking Indian casino somewhere else, or were taking him to Vegas, and nobody knew who the guy was because, you know, if you want to build a star, you got to start locally, build a fan base there, and then sometimes that fan base, well, likely will travel to see that guy fight once he gets a bigger fight down the line. But you can't fucking be taking these guys to Vegas, New York, if there's no fan base there. And so that's what that's what they should have done with Ennis from the get-go. But, you know, the PBC, they didn't know what they were doing. And that's the other thing. There's a rumor I've been hearing on Twitter. If you guys maybe can clarify this. They're saying Ennis's deal with Matchroom might be over and he's returning to the PBC. Did I hear that correctly?
I heard that too. I heard he might be going back to Al Heyman.
Why the hell would you do that and fight once a year?
That's the thing. That's the horrible
Well, I mean,
thing
hey,
about
but remember, guys, the PBC is teaming up with Top Rank because they feel threatened
but
by
there's no money.
the TKO
There's no
thing.
money.
So they might have something lined up.
That's where's the money going to come from? Where?
I mean, I don't know but if they're working with Top Rank, it's going to come.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Top Rank,
What Top Rank's going to be paying? Hold on. What Top Rank's going to be paying PBC fighters' salary? Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, they're going to probably.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Then. Oh, well, there you go. Pay-per-view. It's going to be crowdsourced. Crowdsourced boxing again.
But yeah, that's the state of boxing right there. But like, that's the state of boxing. But like, if he leaves, I don't know, man. Maybe he goes to
be the state of boxing. If he stays with DAZN, if he stays with Eddie Hearn, he doesn't have to have crowdsourced boxing.
Well, he's still going to be on pay-per-view if he's with DAZN.
No, he's not. Not every fight is.
I mean, how much longer do you think he's going to be fighting on regular DAZN?
I don't know. He should though, because he's not. And I
agree, but I just don't think
he's not a name.
You know what these fighters are. You know these fighters.
He's not a big draw. No one's gonna. Who's gonna pay to see?
None of the fighters are. Tank's not a big pay-per-view seller, but he's still on pay-per-view. All these guys want to be on pay-per-view.
Well,
I don't understand this. I don't understand this.
It's not a smart business move when you go to a sinking ship. Why go back to a sinking ship? You just got a life raft. You just got dragged out of the Titanic. Why go back?
You fight once a year.
Yeah, why go back to a dying
$80
business?
If you actually want to go back to
for one reason,
he never even was a paper.
One reason I would want him to do that is so I don't have to hear Chris Mannix and Sergio Moore anymore. Just for that reason.
Isn't Jim Lampley supposed to be doing the DAZN commentary now, or is it just going to be turkeys?
May 2nd.
They're terrible, bro. I'd rather hear Turkey commentate.
Maybe
you know what? Well, I mean, who here watches it with the volume up anyway? Like, I always watch it with someone you guys.
I like commentary, bro. I like commentary.
It should be. I think it should be audio free, like commentary free. So like you get to hear the crowd.
Bring back Jim Lampley.
I'd rather either jump on with Never Sober's crowd or the Ring IQ crowd and watch it like that. I don't want to watch it with.
I mean, Ring IQ's a weirdo, man. I don't want to hear nobody yelling, saying, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." No, but I mean, I like commentary.
Whatever. I'm just saying. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying. I'd rather watch it with another.
I mean, I like Mario Alano, the Showtime one. He's kind of weird, but I mean, I like him. I mean, you gotta have.
Is Al Bernstein? Is Al Bernstein the guy that does Showtime?
No, I don't like Al Bernstein. He's boring. He's
posting about politics now on Twitter.
The one thing I don't like is the top is with Timothy Bradley. I can't fucking stand it. That is as bad as Sergio Mora and Mannix.
Yeah, woo. Oh, Errol, I hate to say it, man, because it sounds like I hate to say it because it sounds like I'm a negative Nancy, but it is what it is. The days of Lampley, Merchant, and maybe Stewart and or Roy Jones, they're long gone, man. They all have their bad. They all have a little bit of. I mean, they all have a little bit of good, but a lot of overwhelming bad. I mean, like I was saying, DAZN, Farmer and Cepeda, the rematch, they're fucking instigating for more cheating. Like, oh yeah, he should fight dirty. That's what they were saying. The girl with the lesbian haircut and Mora and the other guy. I don't know. Yeah, and then like you guys were saying, Timothy Bradley having an orgasm, everything happened. And then you've got Amazon. Hold on. And then Amazon, they got that bipolar guy, and he does have bipolar. I'm not kidding. Mauro Ranallo, on fuego. And then Abner Maris, he sounds like he's high on weed, like a hippie. I mean, come on.
I mean,
Dude,
the fighters are
Abdul
always
Mares-
goofy because you remember they had Lennox Lewis. A lot of people didn't like him. They had the late great George Foreman. A lot of people didn't like him. Even with Max Kellerman, a lot of people didn't like Max Kellerman. And even with Jim Lampley, everybody was like, "Oh, he
Hey,
sounds
what happened?
bang, bang,
Okay, what happened to Max Kellerman, dude? He didn't start off that way. He didn't like. He took a detour, and he just I couldn't stand the guy after a while.
He tried turning into Larry Merchant because when he used to be at ESPN and his public access show before that, he used to be very animated. Yeah, at one time he even spit at the screen, and but then once he joined HBO, he tried to calm down more. Like, oh, now I got the tuxedo on. Now I'm at the highest level.
I
I'm
got the
big leagues.
on.
Yeah,
he just,
I think he had
even in the early days. Even the early days,
it was like
with HBO, he wasn't that bad. Like he got to the point where it was insufferable. Like the guy became insufferable. It was fucking terrible.
But yeah, it was like
tough.
ESPN with Stephen A. Smith, first take, and then he got fired, and then he took he basically fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? As if ESPN, if they keep Bradley, I'd rather they keep Bradley and the other guy they have than if they bring back Teddy Atlas. Teddy Atlas was the worst. The screaming, the non sequiturs.
No, I like the screaming. Because look, he has smoke for the judges. BDA, he has smoke for the judges. Whenever they fuck up,
you gotta have guys that passionate. Yeah,
he had smoke in his lungs. He had smoke in his lungs. That fucking hippie, the drug addict. I mean, come on. He wasn't making any sense. He was making no sense when he would speak. He was always getting into it with Kriegel or what's his name?
Stephen A. was always getting into that involved. I don't know why the fuck they brought Stephen A. into the boxing coverage. It's just so stupid.
And he wasn't even funny the way it is sometimes with Chris Mannix and Mora, which even that I dislike. But Teddy Atlas, you could tell he wanted to be the only guy on that.
It seems like out of all the commentators, we could agree that we like a very small percentage, like a handful. Most of them suck. We all know it. Most of them suck. I got used to who's the other guy? Not Chris Mannix. It's not Sergio Mora. Who's the third guy that's in there? He's not as bad as either of those two.
Grisham.
Yeah, Grisham.
He's okay. He's okay.
I'm okay with him. But Sergio Mora and his hot takes during the fight fucking drive me insane.
What about the ESPN guy?
He talks about everybody like he knows exactly what they're thinking and what's going on. And then most of the time, he goes the other way. And then he just changes course. And I'm like, dude, just stick to your guns. Like, just be more transparent. And he just sounds like a weasel. And the other guy is worse.
What's the name of that ESPN guy? There's an ESPN guy that's pretty good. I forgot his name. He has dark hair.
Joe Tessitore?
I don't know.
Joe Tessitore. He's a good. I like Joe Tessitore. But you got to have a hype guy.
Isn't he on Top Rank?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, okay.
Well, not anymore. Well, not for long, because Top Rank is about to end of ESPN.
He's goofy. He says shit. He says some weird shit, but I like Tim. I think Tim's good.
You know what? After years of living here in Canada and listening to the English commentary, it was jarring once when I was able to re-listen, watch fights with the Mexican commentary. That is too, it's overwhelming because they got 6 people. Have you ever seen where they're at? They're in a little table and there's 6 guys there. They're all crammed in there like they're doing coke at a party. And then they won't stop talking. They won't stop talking.
How do I get the feed to Box Azteca, with Julio Cesar Chavez, bro? That dude's entertaining, bro.
Well, there's links. There's links out there. And I think it's anyway, yeah, but there's links out there that you can find. Or if you live in near the border, I think like Don Chingazo said he could get it on TV with the antenna. But so there are ways to get the TV stick.
We'll put it on the internet, bro.
Well, check out the Sober
British, bro. It could be worse. We could be in Britain. Have you ever heard the British commentary? Oh my God.
Yeah, some of it's okay. It's innocuous in my opinion. I don't know. Most of it's just not.
It's a great fight, Tyson Fury.
But you know what, though? Hey, listen, there were good commentators on Showtime when they had Antonio Tarver, but they fired him because he tested positive for something for one of his fights. So I don't understand what that has to do with.
That was woke. That was woke.
Wait.
But I mean, what was it? He tested positive during a fight. Why do they have to fire him from his announcing job? He was good. Then they put in Malignaggi. And then they fire him for the whole on PC whatever thing. So that they had a good thing going. And I mean, look, listen, Morris is a good guy, but I don't know. He sounds high, man, most of the time.
You know what happened to Morris? You know what happened to him? He Al Heyman just owed him a lot of money. He couldn't pay him, so he gave him a job.
He's not getting paid.
Yeah, it would surprise me. Yeah, that dude, Mauro Ranallo, man. I mean, come on.
I like Mauro, man. I like Mauro.
It was between him. It was between
Bully Malignaggi.
It was between him and what's his name? I keep forgetting his name now because
Hey, what's up, boys? What's up? What's happening?
Nobody's talking. You fucking idiot. The fuck is your problem?
That's very rude to one of
Hey guys, give me attention. Hey guys, give me attention. Give me attention, guys. Give me attention.
You're on a guest.
I'm here. We have other guests here.
Hey, everyone, pay attention to me. I'm here.
Boring.
Yeah, no, Ranallo is a guy that the worst was, the culmination was during the Tank Davis Roach fight. Because even Joe Goosen, that's the thing though, a rotten apple, what's the saying? A rotten apple spoils the bunch or whatever. That's what it's going on over there at Showtime, because even Joe Goosen got into the spirit, or the evil spirit of the whole thing when they had Gervonta Davis preparing in the background, in the backstage, and then Joe Goosen goes, this guy, people can barely win rounds off of him. At this point, it's a question of, can anybody even give him a good fight? And I'm thinking, holy smokes, Joe Goosen, they got to Joe Goosen too. And then
Joe Goosen's barber lives with them.
Was that?
I want to see Shushu Carrington come up. What little I saw of Shushu Carrington commentating, I'm like, yo, this kid is sharp. New Yorkers are like talkers. You know what I mean? So he's a smart kid. I like that guy. I hope he keeps doing it. I don't know, because I don't think he's gonna get the fights.
Hey, Raymond Ford was calling him out, saying that he's a vegan. Go eat a steak. You F word. Call him the F, the derogatory term for gay guy. And he said that, come see me when you're ready. So Raymond Ford's been getting into it with O'Shaquie Foster. He's been getting into it with Shushu Carrington. I mean, hey, as long as he fights him.
I like Raymond Ford. He's been through the fire, so I like him.
Yeah, he didn't backfoot bitch versus Nick Ball, which is what I wanted to see. And you see how well that fight went.
Man, I saw him live, and he stunk up the joint. So, man, I don't know, man. He showed me he can stink up a joint. Like, yo, man, like that can rear its ugly head at any time. Whenever
Which fight was it? Which fight was it?
That was on 4 years ago. The Bam, I think it was a Bam Rodriguez undercard.
Was it the fight that he was? Was it the guy who gave Cordina a good fight too? What's his name? He's gonna be fighting the tall guy at featherweight, Espinoza. What's his name? The guy. You guys know who I'm talking about. He went to England or the UK to fight Cordina. And then
I forgot who it was, but he was beating the guy. He was outpointing him like 12-0, but there was no sense of urgency, man. There was no like, all right, I'm better than this guy. I'm gonna put him away and put his updates on because I'm trying to build something here. And then when you see him after the fight, he's like not even breathing hard. I'm like, man, this guy should, like, if you're trying to get a fan base and come up and you can hurt, you're better, go for it.
That was people are saying that was the Edward Vasquez fight. I think that's the one, because that fight.
And I look like a dumbass because I was telling everybody, "Yo, check out this kid. This kid's special." And then when we get through the whole fight, I'm like, "Sorry, guys, I didn't know that was coming."
Yeah.
did they do stuff to you afterwards, like as a punishment, or?
No, man. They made me walk home, but it's all good. I had it coming.
Hey. So have you guys talked about Bivol, Duck, and Benavidez yet? You got to
Oh my God! Who is all fuck, bro?
Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Get him out of here!
Benavidez, man.
Hit a bit of a nerve.
Nobody cares about that pepperoni cheese faggot.
Nobody cares about undisputed champion ducking somebody.
I've seen you all over the hold on. I've seen you all over the YouTube boxing community talk about that and getting schooled. Why would you want to be schooled again? Why would you want to be schooled for?
I don't get schooled. You're living in an alternate reality.
I saw you on IBFP getting
You're
schooled.
living in an alternate reality.
I see you on IBFP getting schooled over and over, man. You're a masochist. It's amazing. You get off on it.
Here's the deal, though.
How can I get schooled when I'm right?
How can I get schooled? We're not going to talk about Benavidez. No, we're not talking about Benavidez.
I've been schooling you for 3 years, BDA.
Come on, man.
I'm going to shoot this guy. All right.
Hey, why don't you call the boxing voice or something? Like, just go somewhere else.
Every show.
So you get yelled at again, right?
You guys are so emotional. What happened?
What about the other guy?
I don't know what's happening
Hey,
here.
who else does a live show right now?
Right,
go talk to somebody else about it.
Yeah, it gets boring, man. Mirage, I told you this 2.5 years ago. Your stick got old 2.5 years ago, man.
Yeah,
2.5 years ago. You gotta diversify. You gotta mix it up. But that's not your
Yeah,
no
and you've been wrong, and you've been
No
wrong for
tiene
2.5
verga,
years. Maybe you
No
should start
tiene
listening,
verga,
BDA.
wrong
You might learn
about
something.
okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, where everyone's wrong, Mirage is right, even though he's drunk right
you
now.
can understand how he gets
Finally learning.
Well,
There you go.
afternoon,
You're finally learning.
12 in the afternoon, he's drunk already. I mean, come on, what's
Oh, here we go.
Every
We've got
call-
the-
Talk
we've got the
about something
insults
else,
coming.
man. Seriously, man. We'll talk about this again for sure on the next show. So, on the next
No,
Friday
I'm just
show.
asking, man. We'll talk about whatever
We
you
talked
want.
about it.
all right?
No, we
had a show.
Mirage,
I
ask
don't
your
want you
mom
to
to
get
make you a
emotional
Vegemite
upset. That's my
sandwich.
priority, okay,
Go to
Bruce?
bed.
Goodness gracious. We don't want to talk about
Go to
it. We
bed.
talked
Go to
about
bed,
it
Mirage.
already.
Yeah.
go
Let's
sober up,
sweep
man.
it under the carpet.
Don't
We'll pretend it never
Mirage,
happened.
Mirage,
I'll roll with it. I'll roll
go
with it.
figure you're always on this podcast.
I just want to give people a disclaimer. If you want to see, if you want to go through the thing about what the Benavidez thing, go to IBFP's recent couple of episodes. You'll see Mirage getting schooled over and over. You'll probably also hear the stretching of his dick getting hard every time he takes a slap in the face. So go hear that. Go hear that over at IBFP. Go hear that over at IBFP. Well, we're not getting into the. It gets boring, man. I've been telling you 2.5 years. It's boring.
Yeah, it's
Diversify.
boring, man. We're gonna talk
Wake
about it
up.
again for sure, man. Let's give it a break.
Hey, we can talk
All
about
right, see
whatever
ya.
we talk
Bye,
about.
Mirage.
Anything.
Hey, Mirage, who's winning tomorrow?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a showcase for Boots. I think Stanionis is custom made for Boots. I don't know, people are saying 50-50. Dude, he's got a 6-inch reach advantage, much taller, is much bigger. I reckon he's going to just beat him up and stop him.
Possible. You might
Maybe.
Don't know who the fuck's Stanionis. People are big on him,
make
man.
Dirk believe
He's
that
had, he's had,
is the real
he's
deal.
had 2 fights in about
people
4
are gonna
years.
forget about the Karen fights if he knocks this guy out.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Well, that's boxing. I mean, you're supposed to go. That's the other question I want to ask. Like, what's the bar being set here? Do we want to see a stoppage, or are we disappointed if neither guy gets a
He
stoppage?
should dominate if he's the real deal.
If Boots is the real deal, he should stop him. Or at least beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's durable. Maybe the guy's durable. He should put it on him. I mean,
Now, he can
he's
win
going to be
by-
right there in front of him, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I agree. If the hype that Boots got, you have to look spectacular or at least
Right.
dominant.
I'm not saying he has
So,
to knock him out, but
No excuses.
dominate.
Because I'll tell you what. I
Yeah,
remember when
that's fair.
when Shakur Stevenson, another guy that got a lot of hype, when he fought what's his name, Hartunonian. People were walking out. A lot of people were pissed off after the fight. I'm thinking I wasn't pissed off because my bar was this guy's gonna go the distance, and that's what I was expecting. And if he did go for the finish the way he said he was going to, or I mean, if he got it the way he said he was going to, I would have been surprised. I would have been like, okay, he exceeded expectations. But that's the expectation I said. And something similar with Ennis. He's gonna get hit in this fight. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I mean, unless he scores a one-punch knockout early in the fight. I don't see him dominating Stanionis. Now, if he does that and he sharpens up that defense, which is possible, a leopard can change his spots, then I'll be surprised. But my bar right now is that it's going to be a very competitive fight for as long as it goes. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you expect either guy to dominate, or?
I mean, it's okay.
I think if Boots box like he's capable of doing, and just picks Stanionis from mid-range, just box. You don't need to go in there and brawl with everybody and make it a 50-50 type of fight. If he does that, it's going to be a very competitive, and Stanionis can win that. But if he uses his physical tools and his boxing ability, it should be easy or easier fight. Let me say that.
Yeah, I think people are underestimating. Hang on, that Karen dude, they're underestimating how unorthodox he was and tricky. I think Stanionis is going to be more straightforward.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be a simpler fight than that Karen dude.
Well, we shall see. The other question I had
was... That's the thing about Boots. He likes to fight. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, Boots likes to fight his opponent's fight, which is not very smart. He could have made that Karen fight a lot more simple if he'd have just got it behind his jab, but I guess he was under pressure from his dad, the media, and fans. You got to get a knockout He fought this guy already. You know, some guys are just not there to get knocked out. You know, it's okay to box and just do what you got to do to get a comfortable victory. But when they're kind of reckless, looking for the knockout, we all know you should never look for a knockout against a guy who's tricky, good counterpuncher, good angles, knows how to pivot, and that's why he looked the way he did. So it is.
Well, that brings up
That's
the
my-
question:
Yeah.
which guy, like, what's who's the most similar guy opponent that each guy has fought that looks like their next opponent? Like, for example, Stanionis versus Butaev. Is that the closest guy that he's fought to? You know, because Butaev was switching stances and all that. So what's Ennis? Has he ever fought a guy like Stanionis and vice versa? Who's the closest guy?
I would argue Roman Villa because he's a pressure fighter.
Yeah, if Roman Villa didn't have a jab. Yeah, if Roman Villa didn't have a jab, which he doesn't have a jab.
No, he just hooks.
Stanios is way more technical than yeah, Stanios is way more technically a better fighter than Roman Villa. But I'll say this: Roman Villa was a more dangerous fight because he could put you out at any moment, in my opinion. I don't think Stanios has that kind of danger. He's more of a cumulative volume guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Villa, even
yeah.
though he hasn't fought, you know, Butaev or beaten a guy like Butaev, but you could tell that he did. I would assume that he would punch harder, even though he was. Yeah, so buddy, that's the other thing I wanted to. I didn't have a time to make the video about it, but Stanionis, he's a one-handed fighter. If you look at that left hook of his, he slaps with it. That's why he doesn't stop guys. Because most guys, you look at him, you was like, oh shit, he's built like a tank. Why doesn't he get more stoppages? Well, it's not a bodybuilding contest. It's about technique too. And the guy slaps with that left hook. That could be a problem, I guess. Because Boots, say what you want about it, but the guy can punch with both hands.
Yeah.
If it comes down
This
to a
might be his
firefight,
last fight at welterweight, though. Doesn't matter if he wins the fight or anything. That's just looking at him, like how skinny he looked, how dehydrated he looked. So even if he wins, he might just move up. Which I don't mind.
like I said, that's where the money is.
He's gonna duck Brian Norman Jr. again, and then move up and fight somebody like.
Oh, brother, who goes with the
why is the
fucking
money
dog
at
shit?
154? I understand the money can also be at 147. A fight with Ryan Garcia, a fight with Teofimo Lopez, maybe.
Well, that's what Grim Reaper said in the chat. He said that they're angling. I don't know where he got this from, but apparently they're angling the Garcia Haney winner to fight Ennis if Ennis comes out on top tomorrow.
There you go.
They want Boost to fight Tio if Tio gets past his guy. And like you said, the winner.
You're breaking up, man. You're breaking up.
Breaking up, man. Boots gonna finish his man.
Bro, like, can they stop bringing up
Yeah,
like smaller fighters for Boost to just break down and beat up? Like, come on, man. And Brian Norman, you know,
Ryan Garcia is not a small guy.
Like, come on, enough of that dog shit.
Ryan and Devin Haney are big enough to fight Boots. Both of them. They are.
They are since when?
Ryan Garcia should have been at 47. He's 5'9", 5'10", 70 plus reach. He's got the dimensions to fight a guy like Boots.
Okay, so when someone like Crawford is 5'8" and he got like 79-inch reach or whatever, he's too small. He's too small for 168, right? He has all the bigger dimensions than Canelo, but he's too small. That's
saying? Different because Ryan Garcia is about to fight. Ryan Garcia is about to fight at 47, so it's not like this is his first time at 47. He couldn't even make 140. He's never been at 140.
You would love his first fight at 147 to be against Boost, right? Because before they had fights signed up, that's what you were talking about.
He's gonna have two fights before he fights. He's going to have to fight Rolly and he's going to have to fight Haney. So he'll have two fights. Yeah, nice price overs.
Yeah, they're not gonna stop up Brian like that. Fuck out of here.
You would love for his first fight at 147.
Now you had one.
You wanted it. That's what you wanted before they had fights.
That's what Virgil and them wanted for Boots at 54. That's what Virgil and them wanted for Boots at 54. But let me tell you something about that Virgil fight, because that fight will happen. Don't get it misconstrued. It will happen. But when it does happen, it's not going to be.
Well, Boots
it's not going to be on Virgil
by the time that fight's happen.
Oh yeah, he will be, and hopefully Virgil is too. And when that fight does happen, it's not going to be on Virgil and Golden Boy's terms or whatever the fuck they call it over there. It's going to be on the A side's terms. Yeah. Let me.
And what's
You know
gonna
what?
make him the A side, bro?
Let's wait.
Not his resume. Not his resume.
Well, he'll have more belts than Virgil by that point, I imagine. He'll probably be a 47 champion and a 54 champion. So yeah, he'll be more accomplished. Plus, he's shown that he can sell tickets. Virgil has yet to main event and sell anything, really.
No, you're saying he's gonna get a belt at you're saying he's gonna unify and then get a belt at 154 before he fights Virgil?
Potentially, it could happen.
God damn.
I mean, there is pressure on Ennis.
It's gonna be a bigger fight now than ever.
Let me just say this, right? Like when they were offering him the Virgil fight, I was thinking to myself, I don't give a fuck about the belts, man. That's a damn good fight, man. I've been hearing about that fight for the last 5 years, man. And I thought that would have been a great opportunity.
It is a great fight, but now because of all this drama, it's a bigger fight, so that's good. And then two, that was 2 months after he fought Karen, right?
No.
Or actually, I believe it was a month after he fought Karen. So you want his very, very first fight to be Virgil Ortiz at 54. Did Virgil Ortiz go straight to a killer when he got? That's crazy, bro. Like you gotta hold people to the same standard. That was never gonna happen.
It's not about holding them to the same standard. I'm just saying, like, if you're good enough, you're ready enough.
I thought you thought Boots was the man. You don't sound confident.
And I think he does beat Virgil, but also he made a good point. I've never won a legitimate belt at 47. Everything I've gotten is an email. So like, can he at least unify first? Like, damn, is that asking for too much?
Who cares? That's an excuse. Let's just make the fight. Fuck it.
Nah, bro.
Like Virtuoso, it's been 5 fucking years. At that point.
Well, I remember when people were accusing Canelo of ducking Triple G. Remember? You know, they ended up fighting.
And they got it done. They got it done.
They did get Boots, and Boots and Virgil will get it done too. So just be patient, Ortiz fans. He'll get his ass whooped in due time.
I'm not even an Ortiz fan. I'm a boxing fan, bro. I just want to see the fight.
He should move up. Wait, he said after the Karen fight he was struggling to make weight. Now we look at him before the Stanionis fight. He looks like shit. He looks like in terrible shape. He should move up.
By the way,
yeah.
If he goes in there and stops Stanionis, that'll be more impressive than anything Virgil's done.
Let me see.
Yeah, it will be. It's a unification fight. Stanionis is a good fighter. Nobody's really predicting Boots to stop him.
I don't know. Most people are saying the Madrimov win is pretty good.
Even the people. Yeah, but he didn't like out destroy Madrimov.
He dominated him. In my opinion.
He beat him clearly. I wouldn't say he dominated him. The late rounds of Madrimov was picked up somewhere.
It wasn't controversial.
But no, it wasn't controversial.
Would you kept that energy if Virgil would have beaten?
I'm just saying. If you destroy Stanionis,
I don't think he would have.
Virgil Ortiz beat
even you guys.
He beat him better than Crawford. That's why also. So Madrimov's a good fighter. That's what I started hearing after the Crawford fight. I started hearing, oh, Madrimov is actually a very good boxer. All this praising on him, and then Virgil Ortiz beats him, and it's like, oh, it's an okay win.
No. He is a good. Madrimov is a good fighter. People were going to say that. Oh, he'll beat everybody else at 54. I was like, hold up, slow down. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you keep breaking up, though.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what you are. You sound fine, then all of a sudden you sound like shit. So, just letting you know.
I think he's gonna come back and give that word.
He was doing it on purpose to not debate. Oh, he's back. Go ahead, Dirk.
Yeah. I've always thought Madrimov was a good fighter, but people were assuming that he beats Virgil because he has this crazy footwork. But if you watch his highlights, or I mean not his highlights, but his film, there's no proof of him fighting a pressure fighter. So I was like, where is this idea that he can maintain his distance against a guy that can press the pace like a Virgil Ortiz? So I don't know where that came from. So for that reason, I picked Virgil to win. But yeah, so I don't know. The only people that were hyping up Madrimov a lot were the Crawford fans. That's what fans do. They're gonna hype up their favorite guy's opponents.
So
It is
he
what
was
it
a
is.
hype job.
Huh?
He was a hype job. He wasn't that.
No, he wasn't a hype job.
Okay, not a hype job, but he was
That's what we're taking
exaggerated.
away
So
from
you're saying
Crawford.
he's not as good as Crawford fans want to make you believe he is.
Yeah, exactly. Because Crawford, and again, it's a styles make fights. Madrimov and Crawford are both counterpunchers. When you get two counterpunchers in there, sometimes you get boring fights where they're staring at each other and waiting for one guy to make a move, and they react off of that. It happens.
Yeah, you know what, man? Going back, sticking to the Ortiz thing, but slightly pivoting towards back to the commentary thing. I mean, the commentary on the zone when they were during that fight was awful. Madrimov was moving a lot. I dare say he was back foot bitching it because he was barely throwing any shots, and whatever shots he was throwing, Ortiz was blocking most of them. But the commentators made it seem as if he was schooling Ortiz. So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's just the North American, the zone commentary. Then I got a copy of the fight, but it's with the British commentary. Same shit. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I said, okay, maybe two commentating teams. Maybe I'm the asshole. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I'm slowing down the fight. There's no punches being landed from Madrimov. What few punches he threw, they weren't landing. And they're making it seem like, one of the guys from England, the guy who does the unofficial scorecards, I got it 3-0. It's like, what? Well, no, actually, excuse me, no. He had it 2-1, I think. And the commentator's like, he gave a round to Ortiz. No, I have it 3-0. I have it 3-0. Yeah, so do I. I'm thinking, what the fuck fight were these guys watching? So after the fight, listen, yeah, it's like the Usyk Fury thing where we're talking about how some people were hyping Fury up. I don't think that many people were saying Madrimov was a shit, but I did hear some people saying, hey, man, he gave, they overhyped Crawford and by proxy, they overhyped Madrimov. But then the narrative sort of started switching from some people after the fight saying, well, yeah, Ortiz won the fight, but look at his face. He got all beat up. I'm thinking, well, because he's got a high guard. Of course his face is going to be all scratched up. But what I count is clean, effective punching. I didn't see his head getting snapped back, bobbing left and right. I saw Madrimov hitting Crawford way more cleanly most of the time in their fight, more often rather, than I saw him line clean shots on Ortiz. And so what Ortiz was doing in there, it's not easy. Putting your guard up, backing a puncher up.
Yeah, he was impressive. He was pressing the pace while being defensively responsible. That's not easy.
A lot of people don't respect that. A lot of people think it's like, just putting your hands up and moving forward. It's like, nah, man, it's. And by the way, there is criticism for Ortiz because the guard is not the best guard. It's not a dynamic guard. It's a little bit too stiff.
No. The high guard is not good, especially against guys who good uppercuts. You're prone to get. I think that's how the Mean Machine hurt him. It was an uppercut.
And
my only thing with Virgil is. Go ahead.
Sorry, because I think we're on a delay. Go ahead, man.
My only thing with Virgil is at least the old Virgil, everything is 100 miles an hour. I feel like a good counterpuncher would take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's true. He used to, but I mean, that he did switch it up against Madrimov. He wasn't just winging at one point, same speed. He was actually throwing, mixing the speed. Yeah. So he seems to be learning from that. But yeah, all that to say that the Madrimov, he was this. People were saying, he's Canelo with better footwork. I actually heard some people saying that on tour. Again, not everybody, but I heard some people saying that. I'm thinking, well, if that's not overhyping, I don't know what is then.
Yeah, we don't even know where they get that from, or the Triple G comparisons. Why? Well, what is he? He's nothing like Triple G. They fight nothing alike. He's more athletic. That's about it.
Yeah, I suppose maybe because they looked alike. I mean, he did have some Triple G-like qualities in the sense that he was coming forward and doing it behind a good jab. But he's not as technically proficient as Golovkin or as he is faster. So I think that's what gives people the impression that he's superior to Golovkin. But I mean, Madrimov's a good win. Madrimov had that win over Kurbanov. Or what's his name? Kurbanov? I forget how you pronounce it. That was a good win. That dude had some good,
he tried to make excuses after the fight. Oh, I wasn't feeling well. We almost called it off the fight. Like, all right, bro. Like, a lot of guys don't feel good during a fight.
Well, didn't he say he used to school? Didn't he say he used to school Ortiz in sparring?
Yeah, he was implying that, and Virgil was implying the other way around. So who knows?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know, man. It sounds like sour grapes. he never produced any sort of documentation or evidence saying it, that he was sick. So I don't know, but I mean, yeah, it's Ortiz is a top guy. That's what I'm saying. We on 54. That's where Ennis should be at. Because I mean, I don't know what would do better, him against Norman or him against, say, Ortiz.
Norman.
You say what's a better fight or a harder fight?
Financially more.
Ortiz.
Ortiz, obviously.
But there, I do want to see Boots shut up Norman Senior. I want to see if his son gets starched. If Norman Senior is going to be on his little YouTube tour, all over everybody's channel. If that happens, I would like to see that.
It used to be that we only had one or two father-trainer combos, and the father, being like with Danny Garcia about 13 years ago, right? And there was only him and maybe somebody else. Maybe I forget. Now there's Teofimo Lopez, Bill Senior, Bill Haney. You got what's his name? Schofield's father, who's going, my son, you gotta believe me. I told you my son's the best. Oh man, that dude's all over the place. Who else is there? Like Norman's father. What other father is fucking annoying all the time? I mean, that's four. That's three more.
He doesn't talk as much, but Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I guess, but he's not.
But he's not a trainer, though.
Trainer,
exactly.
Clown.
He's not as bad, but
yeah, because he knows his place.
Bozy sometimes talks too much, but he's not as bad as those other guys. Haney? Oh, you already mentioned Bill Haney.
Oh, that brings up a good point too. Ennis, his trainer, he got criticized after the Karen rematch for not just telling him, you gotta knock him out, you gotta knock him out. So if push comes to shove in this fight, will he manage to... Now, who's got the superior corner? Because Stanionis has Diaz, right? One of the Diaz brothers?
Yeah, Joel Diaz.
It was a Filipino guy. It was a Filipino guy from what I saw.
Oh, yeah. It's true. Yeah, he's with Somodio. What's his name?
I don't know his name, but he sounds just like Manny Pacquiao.
There you go.
Well, he did train out of the wildcard gym, so...
Oh, that's the guy? Okay, that's the dude, right? He's the Freddie Roach's apprentice, right?
I guess so.
All right, so I mean that dude's pretty good. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know if Ennis is gonna have to make that many adjustments in this one. I think it's gonna be a firefight.
Well, if it turns into a firefight, that gives Stanionis a better chance. It makes it a more competitive fight.
Okay, but that's the thing, though. Can Ennis box for 12 rounds? Because I mean, didn't he try to do that against the Karen in the rematch? He said, "Okay, you're gonna come to me," and then before you know, he's right back there.
I think he was trying to fight Karen. And again, I don't want to make it as an excuse, but I think he was compromised in that fight with the weight.
Oh, wait a minute.
I do. I don't think that was a fully healthy Ennis in there.
But then that begs the question: what about this one?
This one, with the second day weigh-in, should be stronger. If not, then okay, then
No, from what I heard is that when... Hold on, Kirk. From what I hear, it's like when there's a unification, the IBF, rehydration rule, it's nullified. It doesn't get involved. So he can hydrate to whatever way he wants. Now, when you mentioned that he didn't look that good against Karen, well, that could be the rehydration clause, the 10 pound, because like when you're fighting for solely the IBF, that rule applies.
He didn't look that good against Avanesian either. So,
well, there you go. I mean, it's starting to look doubtful that he can make weight at 147. I mean, just look at him this week.
I want you to go watch that Avanesian fight and then watch him against Lipinets or even Delorme. The reflexes are not the same. The weight cut starting to affect his physical. He's a guy that relies on his reflexes for his defense.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to rate him with those wins against 140 pounders. It's just small.
Yeah, but still, physically, he looked different in those fights. So,
I mean, it was the same thing with Virgil Ortiz a couple years ago. It's like, okay, he's blown this guy's out of there 2 rounds, but I mean, it's how's he gonna? That the litmus test is 154, and I think it's the same thing with Ennis. Although, like I said, this fight's a good fight. But yeah, you're right, man. I mean, I remember when he beat Delorme, he stopped him, and there was another guy. I think it was Besputin. was a Russian guy who disappeared now, but back then he was on the come up and he went 12 rounds against not Dulorme, against the Abregu. I think that was the guy's name, some Venezuelan guy or whatever. And he stopped him, and I said, "Whoa,
We're talking about Abreu.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
nobody's ever stopped Abreu, even Conwell.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, they went to war in that.
That's underrated by Ennis, by the way. But people.
That's what I'm saying. When I saw Ennis enough, I said, "Whoa, keep an eye on this guy." But then, as things started going along, progressing, I said, "I don't know. It's just he's getting tagged way too much." So maybe it is the defense. I don't know. Maybe it is the weight cut. But the only way we'll find out is if he fights at 154 tomorrow. Anything can happen. But that's the other thing. Some people were saying, I was hearing some people on Twitter saying, "Oh, hey, because the fights for the Ring Magazine title, if Ennis wins, or Stanionis as well, are they top 10 pound for pound guys?"
Well, if Booth goes in there and just completely destroys Stanionis, we need to have a conversation.
What?
If he gets it, I'm serious. Like at least top 10, maybe. I think it matters how you beat your opponents. If not, okay, maybe it's a little bit too early for that. But I'm biased, so take mine with a word of salt.
He needs to not only beat Stanionis, he needs to beat that other guy. The
Norman?
Yeah.
Not Norman Jr. And then then he can establish. I don't know why the Ring Magazine. I guess the Ring Magazine they're giving him the belt because the Stanionis and Ennis are ranked in the top 3 positions or something. So according to their rules, he was a champion.
People criticize Tank for not wanting to unify and just be like a money chaser, whatever you want to call it. Booth is telling you he wants to be undisputed in 4 weight classes. So now you're getting a fighter that cares about legacy, and people are still
criticizing him for that. I think we all agree that we like this fight. Anybody that says the opposite is crazy. I mean, he's doing what if he wants to stay at 147 to unify, then you can do so. But he's doing it. So credit to him. The thing is, I'm not gonna put him in a top 10 pound for pound list. It's already like there's no space. I don't know who I'm gonna take out. Just because he beats Stanionis.
Yeah, that's up to them. That's up to the panelists at Ring Magazine. I mean, if they're giving him that belt, then there's probably a possibility that they're gonna put him on the list.
Well, they shouldn't. And how can you? I mean, how can he be a pound for pounder when he hasn't really cleaned up the division or established himself as the best welterweight?
I think if he goes undisputed, I think he makes a strong case.
Of course.
To be on the
if he goes undisputed, I mean, he's a pound for pounder.
Well, people are gonna be like, "Well, this is a weak weight class." I'm like, "All right, bro, can't make everybody happy."
It's not a weak weight.
I mean, nobody can be happy, man. That's all.
It's not a weak weight class. It's not a weak weight class.
Ryan Norman will be a good win. He's a dangerous guy.
Well, Butcher, it's not a weak weight class. I mean, you got Norman, you got Ennis, you got Stanionis, and then what?
You got Barrios moving up. You have Teofimo Lopez.
Come on.
Lopez is moving up. Teofimo Lopez is a pound for pound. Teofimo Lopez.
Why?
Teofimo Lopez is...
he's going to get fucked up at welterweight.
Well, listen, he hasn't been exposed yet to the point. He hasn't lost since that Camboso fight. Right?
Do you think Teofimo could beat Stanionis?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that because of that Steve Claggett fight. And Teo's jab defense is not very good. And I don't know if he's got the power to even get a guy like Stanionis' respect because he's not really cracking at 140. So imagine at 147.
He's been fighting tricky.
I don't know.
At 140. And I don't know if he's been... I mean, this is an excuse. It's going to sound like an excuse, right? But I don't think he's been taking this fight seriously. He took the Josh Taylor fight seriously. It was
okay
for Alina. Like again, we got to see him. I mean, he has a tough fight coming up against Barbosa. I mean, if he like shit, if he loses...
And that's his kryptonite, Bucho. That the movers, that's his kryptonite, man. Because look at him against what's this guy name? That Spaniard.
Sandor Martin.
Yeah, Sandor Martin.
Did you guys expect him to knock him out after we've seen Martin what he has been doing lately? I mean, so I don't really criticize Teofimo Lopez that much now because Sandor Martin.
Stylistically, a guy like Stanionis should be right in his wheelhouse, but
exactly. So it's a different fight. So maybe he.
But I just want to know if he can deter a guy like Stanionis at 47. Does he have the pop to get his respect?
We'll see.
Hey, well, by the way, the Barbosa, Virtuoso, you're saying Barbosa is going to give him hits, or who are you picking in that one?
I think so. I'm not picking a winner yet, but I'm just saying that he's not very. He hasn't shown any improvement against that type of style. Like he needs to cut the ring off. Easier said than done.
That's
I
why
think it's gonna be a shitty fight. It's gonna be a shitty fight, just like Barboza stinks it up all the time. Now. Ever since he left Top Rank, he's been ruining all his fights. Have been looking shit, except for that one time where he knocked that guy out. After that, he's been looking horrible.
Yeah, but by the way, he called him Barboza, but yeah, but I mean, I agree with Virtuoso that Teofimo Lopez, the book on him is if you're a natural counterpuncher and you don't overcommit against him, he won't come at you. But let's face the facts: Sandor Martin is slippery. He's slippery. I think far more slippery than Barboza. Jermaine Ortiz is incredibly quick. This dude is athletic in there. I think he's got more athleticism than Haney and Hitchens. The way he explodes with the pivots and all that. But
Jermaine Ortiz
doesn't have that.
It up, man.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. Barboza doesn't really have that. I mean, he's okay technically, but I don't even think he's that much more superior to Lopez technically. And he's slower than Lopez.
Lopez, exactly, to show everybody that he's back, he's a real deal. And then, now if he moves up to welterweight, there's going to be, people are going to see him differently, right? He actually has a chance of defeating
I think Tio's going to win that fight. Tio will do enough to win that fight because I don't think Barboza is a better boxer than Martin or even Ortiz. So,
yeah, he's slow as molasses.
Yeah. Tio will do enough to get the win. I don't think he's knocking him out though. It could be wrong. We'll see.
That's the other thing, Barboza. Like, watch him against Zorrilla. It says you can find it on Google. It's not on YouTube. But if you write, write Barboza Zorrilla full fight, you can see it. Yeah, he's struggling in that one. And yeah, that was 3 years ago. He might have been improving, but like Justin said, it's not like Barboza's been setting the world on fire either. I mean, he fought Jose Ramirez, who might have been already shopborn. Okay, he stopped that guy, Zolani or whatever. Tito Mercado couldn't do it. So okay, that's a little bit impressive. But then he loses against that Irish guy, Macomb. He gets a gift decision. I mean, yeah, it's not like he hasn't really been looking all that great either.
And his fight with Catterwall, honestly, he could have lost that fight because that was a knockdown, but they counted as a slip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a very close fight too. And I mean, I get that's Catterwall, but what I'm saying is, if you're gonna go in there and say, well, I'm gonna dominate Lopez or whatever, you better be doing a little bit better against Catterwall and. He
lying. He just saying that to get people's attention to go. He's gonna go. He going. That's what they always do. Guys like Rigondeaux, they say that they're gonna knock guys out.
I think he really believes it. I think he's that type of guy who's he's been undefeated and he's got the confidence. Like, yeah, man, I'm the man.
Dude, he's not gonna do. He's gonna do that. He's gonna fight exactly like he fought like Catterall and Jose Ramirez.
He does have a good jab though. Maybe he could capitalize on.
He's
that.
decent. He's decent. He's decent, but he doesn't have. He can't get over the hump and be amazing. He can't. I don't think he'll ever have an amazing fight or amazing performance. Like Spencer, he's another the Joey Spencer guy. Man, that guy, he needs to retire. He doesn't have the talent to fight.
I think he's got one more. I think he's got one more beating in him. Like put him in there against Murtazali or somebody. Just because I think, three's the magic number, man.
Put him in there against my guy, the Italian stallion Vito Milanicki.
Oh my God, that's going to be a mid-fight.
Vito. Who is that guy?
And you know what? That fight, that's going to be the last card on ESPN, the topic on ESPN. Fuck me.
He's a prospect on PBC.
I gotta go check him out.
Yeah, about a few years ago, I think it was. Yeah, but PBC, your career's closed down.
Vito will beat the shit out of Joey Spencer.
Yeah, man, Joey just doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have the talent.
He's explosive.
He's
He's explosive, but that's it,
man. What was his name? They're both Italian Americans, those two, Vito and Joey. So I'm gonna call him.
My guy Joey. He knows Vito from way back. Hey,
oh, but So okay. 154 is a place to be. That's the other thing, though. Pacheco. there were talks about him and Mbili, and that fight's not happening. And they're saying that it's because he wanted to keep the belt. What does anyone know the official story? What happened there?
I didn't. I never read it. I just know that he didn't fight. He dropped out.
Yeah, it's a winnable fight for him.
That is a winnable fight.
There was a dispute. There's a dispute over the date and the location, apparently. But apparently, it can still go to purse bid or something. Like it's still not.
I mean, what
over.
else? What else are those two guys gonna do?
Yeah, whatever.
Exactly. They shouldn't. They need each other. So arguing over dumb stuff like that is just dumb.
Well, Pacheco apparently I heard. I don't know. I saw somewhere on. I don't know if it was thinking of Pacheco versus McCombie.
Yeah, I heard the rumor. That he switched over to chase him. If he does that, and he overlooks, Mobili's number one in the division. He's ranked number one behind the champion Canelo. So that's ridiculous if he goes after McCombie. You got to cook him for that. No excuse.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like Mbili's, like I said, that's a winnable fight for Pacheco. And Mbili struggled against the one-armed Derevchenko, 40-year-old Derevchenko, or almost 40-year-old. So,
but Pacheco struggled against a 36-year-old prospect last fight. So maybe that was confidence in him. What do you mean? Some people went life and death.
Life and death.
Fight.
Did you guys talk about Pacheco not fighting Mbili? Like,
that's what we're talking about now.
Okay, what was Nelson? What was that? Steven Nelson and Pacheco. That was
Steven Nelson. Yeah, that was a good fight, but I think he was in control.
Yeah, I wouldn't qualify it as life and death. I mean, life and death
it was a very competitive fight, and I think
but it wasn't life and death.
Maybe in a life, I don't know. From what I remember, but it was very competitive. Now,
but you can only imagine what would have happened had Derevchenko had two arms. I guess Mbili.
They're both overrated. But Pacheco should have ran through that dude if he's really that.
Because
that guy.
Nelson, I think, Nelson hasn't he been inactive or something?
He was back in the rotation, and Nelson can crack. Derevchenko 168. 160. He's not a big puncher, and he's a one-armed on top of that. So I think Pacheco came out looking better from that one.
No, Nelson, 36 years old, inactive, and you know what's funny? That was his first ever 12-round fight of his whole fucking career.
Yeah, he was fresh. Years old. That's the thing. 36-year-old, but fresh. Not a 39-year-old shop-born.
Fucking nobody. He's a nobody.
Excuse me. Not a 39-year-old shop-born Derevchenko who's been beaten up by all the top. Well, not beaten up necessarily, but I mean, he's taking his share of punishment. So yeah, I think. Listen, did Pacheco look as great as he could have? I mean, listen, he fought a tough contender. Right. I mean, a tough guy, undefeated, strong puncher. And he came out of there the winner.
Yeah, but the guy's mediocre fighter.
Maybe Diego Pacheco should fire Jose Benavidez Sr. because maybe he's a shit trainer.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing.
No, I don't think it's nothing to do with that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Probably is, Mirage.
I don't think Pacheco's
if it wasn't for his son, bro, Benavidez Sr. would be unemployed.
I think he's soft.
So,
well, I mean, Rayo left him too, right? And he didn't have many good things to say.
So Rayo got beat. Rayo got beat up. So.
Yeah, and he got his ass whipped. And
he
deserved that whipping.
He also beat Isaac Cruz before that. So after he left Jose,
because he disrespected Mr. Benavidez, and then he got his ass whipped for it. That's what happens.
Mr. Benavidez.
Karma.
But yeah, I would like to see
crazy.
David versus Callum Smith. Since they're not fighting the other guys, that'd be a good fight. And they were supposed to fight it.
Apparently, they're negotiating.
Yeah, it could have happened at super middleweight too, but because he had the interim, but WBC never really pushed for that fight.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Pacheco. I mean, that's the other thing. 160 is still a. Oh, that's the other thing, though. I was on the Discord. People were saying that Janibek is the next big thing, and he beats Canelo. He goes up to 175 to fight Benavidez. I'm thinking, come on, let's hold our horses here. The guy looked good against Bazimi Ngimi, or whatever his name was, and I'm thinking, okay, listen, he's looking good. He's looking good, and okay, he's getting the knockouts. And he's fighting in the punch. Good. He's not back for bitching. He's not. I mean, he struggled against Denzel Bentley a couple of years ago. So I mean, this whole thing of this guy, he beats. Yeah.
People always get over. They either shit on you or they get too carried away in boxing. It's never in between. They don't know how to really give a good analysis of a fighter. They just get either carried away or they just keep shitting on you and say you ain't nobody, you ain't this, or they say you're the greatest thing ever. That's how it is. You're the hot or cold. You know, we're in between.
Yeah,
he's a good fighter though. Janibek's good, but he'll never be popular or he'll never sell tickets because he didn't sell out and talk about how he's a Mexican style fighter. He's going to be a Kazakh fighter. That's his thing, Kazakh style. And apparently, Kazakhs aren't very popular here in the States.
Well, I mean, it's you're right. And on top of that, you don't get popular by fighting once or twice a year, which is what Steve Kim's been saying about Janibek too. This guy's he's not all that active either. If he was active, I mean, even if he was active, I don't think it would be to do much more. But
he talks a lot online.
That's the other thing.
I don't even think that's him. That's like he has a social media manager doing all the talk for him because he doesn't speak fluent English. I'll type fluent English.
Probably, yeah.
Well, you don't have to speak fluent English. You can just translate it. You don't have to the computer translates everything, bro.
It might come out wrong.
Maybe that's true. It's not perfect. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to fuck Chuck.
I just think he needs to be serious because he's not getting that Canelo fight. Get the fuck out of here. Just unify.
Yeah, Canelo not looking for you, bro. He's gonna have a couple of fights and he's gonna retire. Canelo's been fighting for 20 years. That's crazy. Him and Chocolatito, this is their 20th year fighting. 2005, they fought 20 years ago.
So that story about him retiring to this 4-5 deal is real.
Yeah. Why not? His body's going to break down if he keep fighting past that. It's ridiculous.
I hope Benavidez is on that deal. That'll be his last fight. Well, it'll be his last fight either way.
Sorry to break it to you, bro. They're never going to fight. They're never going to fight.
You sound like you're happy about that, Sobers.
I've said it many times. I hope they never fight.
He's relieved.
I'm tired of the brown on brown crime. You love seeing Mexicans kill each other. Fuck that shit.
My
God. They love to see Mexicans kill each other in the ring.
What about Bulgaria?
Canelo's going to have his hands full with a 38-year-old welterweight in September. Don't worry about that.
If you lose to Crawford, bro, your whole resume and legacy needs to be questioned.
Yep.
I'm being dead serious.
They've been saying Canelo's the best.
Isn't Crawford like an ATG or whatever?
Hey, imagine one of the best super middleweights of all time.
Okay then. So what's wrong with losing to AT? Didn't Leonard lose to lightweight?
And he's older.
Didn't lose to lightweight?
He's a welterweight, and he's 38.
Well, wait a minute, Redbury. Didn't I see you on the Redbury? Just to clarify, Redbury, didn't I see you picking Crawford in the Discord?
No, I'm picking Canelo.
He's gonna pick him on fight week, BDA. They all do.
They're all gonna switch a week before the fight. A week before the fight, you're gonna jump on the Crawford bandwagon.
No, I'm
going to see something. He's going to see something.
Yeah, he sees something. Canelo looks old. I didn't like the way he was punching the punching bag. No. Crawford looks in shape. Oh my God, look at Crawford. He looks so strong.
That's what makes that fight exciting. But that's what makes that fight exciting. By the way, the stakes. Because neither guy can really afford to lose. I mean, if one guy, I mean, if Crawford loses, he has the size excuse.
Yeah, he has a built-in excuse.
But even then, though, it's like he can't lose because then people are gonna say, well, okay, really, what was his best win? So yeah, man, the stakes are high for them. Stakes are high.
That's changing it.
If it's a competitive fight, then people are not gonna ask that. If he goes in there and gets wiped out, okay, then maybe. He gets knocked out Amir Khan style. Like, if that happens, people will say that.
Get ready for it.
Is that the biggest fight in boxing right now?
Hey, I'm late. So what's the topic?
Is that the biggest, bro? Is that the biggest fight?
You've been in the chat. You've been in the chat, bro. So don't act like you don't know what's going on.
It's the biggest fight that's on the calendar.
That was an hour ago.
Yeah, so is that the biggest fight? I need an answer.
Yeah.
Is that the biggest fight in boxing?
Yes, because of Spence.
It's been signed. There's better fights made.
Spence was pretty much
like... It's not a better fight than Benavidez. I don't even think it's a bigger fight than Benavidez, to be honest.
But this is the one that's been signed. So of all the ones that are on the table,
it's a bigger fight.
It is a bigger fight. Come on, guys.
No, it is a lot bigger.
This was the second best option. We got forced. They forced it down the fans' throat. Really, this fight.
No, it's Terrence Crawford fans. Terrence Crawford fans got too crazy after he destroyed Errol Spence, and now they think he can go up and do everything. That's what happened. That's why they were pushing Terrence.
Or if you let him beat Canelo, you will never hear the end from them niggas. So you think it's bad now?
The end.
Yeah, bro, those guys are obnoxious. They're just as bad, if not worse, than Errol Spence fans, and I hated those guys since the beginning.
I don't like.
What they were doing? What were they doing that was so bad?
Hey, where did
they kept on discrediting Crawford at every turn. They were like, "Oh, he don't deserve to fight." Errol Spence, all this other nonsense. Instead of just say, "Hey, let's hope for the fight. Let's hope for the fight." They did everything to try to discredit him.
Where did the
and then now he got destroyed.
Now to
move somewhere.
Destroyed.
That's the same thing cinnamon fans do.
That's true, but they're in different weight classes. These guys were in the same weight class, circling each other for years.
Hold on. The question was, what did the Errol Spence fans do? He told you, and then you like, well, the Canelo fans do it too. Okay, but does that make it right?
No. Spence wanted to fight Crawford for the undisputed. So because of that, it took a little time. It didn't happen right away. That's why that fight, it looks like he was ducking him or they circled each other, but that's why it took so long. And then when he got the chance to fight him for undisputed, he did it. He lost, but that's what happened. I mentioned the Canelo shit because I agree with the statements made earlier. That's the bigger fight, Benavidez and the Canelo, this Crawford and Canelo thing. I feel like if you're a real boxing head, you really don't want to see that fight unless you just want to see Crawford lose to him. But I feel like other than that, you really don't want to see that fight. You rather see two guys in their weight class or around the same weight fight. Now, if you want to see Crawford lose to Canelo, you Mexican, and you want to see that, then yeah, you want to see that fight. But if you're not really giving a fuck about that, you don't want to see that fight.
Or let's
basically the best option that's left. I mean, they've got no other options. It's better than Williams Skull. That's the best fight Canelo's going to give him. That's why they're sort of like, it's better than.
I mean, it's in his weight class. I ain't that mad at that fight. I get what you're saying, but they're in the same weight. Fuck it. At least he ain't fighting nobody that's too small for him. So fuck it.
Well, wait a minute. Going back to the Errol Spence thing about the Spence fans is great and Crawford. I mean, it is an interesting question. Who's worse now, the Crawford fans or the Spence fans? What they were doing in the build to the Crawford fight, and I mean, I follow that pretty closely on Twitter, and I'd have to give the edge to the. I have to. Well, hold on. I'll check you out later. What I'm saying is, I'd give the Spence fans the edge on all the bad mouthing they were doing from Crawford. He's gonna get whooped. He's gonna walk through him. He doesn't deserve. Like Justin said, they were saying he doesn't deserve the fight. Who's he to ask for this and that? I'm thinking, whoa. I think they went a little bit too far.
I mean, that's not a bad thing for you to say. I mean, there was a time where it did kind of look like he could beat Crawford. I never thought he was going to beat him, but I could kind of see somebody else thinking that. It all started when he beat my guy Garcia. I remember around that time they were saying if he fights like that, he can beat Crawford. I knew better, but I remember this is like 2018, 2019, and I remember hearing that. But as far as what fan base is worse, I feel like Canelo fans are the worst because that's the reason why Benavidez has all his achievements discredited or all that is because of Canelo. Because if you got eyeballs and you're watching these guys fight, you know damn well Benavidez is a great fighter. So to downplay him because you don't like the fact that he's calling Canelo out, that's ridiculous. Spence and Crawford's fans didn't really do that. So I can't stamp that. You made a little sense of what you were saying. It wasn't all wrong, but most of that was kind of cap. The Crawford Canelo shit is worse though.
Man, that's facts, Sully. That's facts.
Oh, wait a minute. Crawford fans do that with boots. When a fan base views a certain fighter as a threat to their guy, they're definitely going to try to discredit them. And Crawford fans would do
the Canelo shit is like the Canelo shit is cult. The Canelo shit is cult like though. You got to hear what these guys are saying.
Nobody's calling him crap.
They're making it like
wait. Hold on. To be fair though, there's criticism. Wait, hold on. To be fair though, there's criticism against David for having been a long time at 168 and only fighting one champion.
They call him mediocre. A lot of people call him mediocre.
Let him go ahead.
Hold on. There's legitimate criticism for him blowing the weight and losing a belt and blowing the weight for testing dirty for drugs. Those are all credible things that you criticize
dirty
someone
for what?
And then
my reply
for cocaine.
May I reply?
Oh, well, hold on, I'm not done yet. So if you're gonna take all those criticisms and say, well, all those criticisms of David Benavidez are just the fanboys. I get the fanboy criticism, and we could just disown that. We can
But you're a
disregard that
fanboy,
because
Don,
that's
mate. You're a
delusional.
fanboy.
I'm not a fanboy.
You're
of
Exhibit A.
Canelo. I
Hey,
haven't
Mirage, you
even
need to
bought.
shut up, man.
I haven't even bought the last. I don't know how many pay-per-views. I think the last one I bought was maybe the Charlo one, and that was it. Or maybe the John Ryder. I'm not even sure which one, but it was a while back. Anyway, my thing is that every fighter has their criticism, and you can't just lump them in with the fanboys. I mean, there's legitimate criticism there, and I will say David Benavidez, yeah, he spent a lot of time at 168 and only fought one champion. He could have fought Plant. They were at the same side of the street. He had a belt. He could have taken it from him then. Why did he wait so long? But that's a criticism. I criticize Canelo for not fighting Benavidez. I also criticize Canelo for fighting Munguia when he said he didn't want to fight Mexicans. I mean, that's a bad look all around. And I think the less they talk like better be than Bivol, the better for the fans. Because these guys talk a lot. And you take everything out of context, and it makes it easy for them to get discredited. So there is legitimate criticism, but we can't just lump it up into one ball and say, oh, well, that's just the fanboys. No. The fanboys are one thing, but legitimate criticism is another thing.
No, you got to understand, though, that the Canelo cult is strong. They make excuses for Canelo.
I know. And that's what we're talking.
Let him talk, man. He waited for you. Let him talk.
I know, but we have to separate the
Dude,
two.
shut up. Let him talk.
Hey, Mirage, you were doing good
Mirage.
before, man, when you were silent.
Dude, he's interrupting him now. You won't let him.
Yeah, who are you?
You're not saying
Who are you?
anything.
You interrupt all the time. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you told me to shut up. And you told me to shut up.
And I will continue.
All right. I watched 8 different interviews because on Canelo. When people say the reasons why he's not fighting Benavidez, none of those reasons are what Canelo's saying. So I'm more likely to believe Canelo than just guys on the internet really just gossiping. Canelo's saying out of his own mouth he's not going to fight him because he brings too much weight to the fight. But then he turned around and said, I will fight him for 150 or 200 million because he's a huge risk. This is what Canelo's saying.
Is it a huge risk?
But when I listen to these Canelo, but when people defend Canelo, now check me out. When people defend Canelo, they never mention none of that stuff. They just make up scenarios. Like, wait a minute, Canelo didn't say that.
It's interesting when we're talking about Errol Spence. It's interesting that we were talking about Errol Spence Crawford. You had to bring in Canelo. I guess that's why he's the biggest name. But I guess check me out.
No. You can't take my ego. You don't even sound right doing that.
Check me out.
You don't even sound right doing that.
Check all of me out. Check all of me out. Yeah. Listen, we were talking about Errol Spence. We were talking about Errol Spence. We were talking about the Errol Spence Terence Crawford saga. Somehow we had to bring you motherfuckers had to bring up Canelo, the biggest name in boxing. But listen, we can keep him. We can go. This is turning again into the whole Canelo Benavidez thing, which we again for the 50th time again. If you want to listen to Solidas and Mirage getting schooled, go to IPFP. Re-listen to the last couple of episodes. You'll get all of that there. What I was saying, harkening back to the Errol Spence Terence Crawford. Yeah, listen, like Don Magasso said, there's always going to be a cult, right? There's always going to be certain fans of one fighter who take it. Excuse me, check me out. There's always going to be some people that are worse or that are fucking insane. But when it comes to Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, if you really follow that, you know that Spence had more fans. And by virtue of that, statistically, he was going to bring in more crazy guys. He brought in a whole lot of people that weren't even boxing fans. They were just, fans of a rapper who was friends with Spence. And so they jumped on that or they were texting or whatever. And they were riding with Spence. He's going to walk through Crawford. Crawford doesn't deserve the fight. Who's he? Who's Crawford? Who has he been? That's what they were saying. And I got the evidence. I got a whole bunch of videos
there might be some truth to that, but it's the same thing. They're saying Benavidez don't deserve to fight. So you could, that's why I brought it up. It's the same thing. So if you're going to criticize,
that's not my argument. But hold on, Domagassos, that's not my argument. I'm not saying who's worse, Canelo.
I know that's not your argument. You don't want to talk about that.
Excuse me. Crawford, Spence. That's what I was talking about. You had to bring in Canelo. What does that have to do with Spence Crawford?
All right. Since you don't want me to hit you with that, let's focus on the Spence and Crawford. What's the worst thing you heard fans say that are Spence fans about the Crawford thing? What's the worst stuff you heard? You said you followed it.
Hold on. So are we discussing who was worse between the Crawford fans and the Spence fans, or are you going to bring it back to Canelo somehow?
No. Let's focus on Spence and Crawford.
That's what I'm doing. But are you going to bring in Canelo? That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. But are you going to bring up Canelo again?
Yeah, they're very touchy about Canelo here, Solidas. Don't mention his name.
Exactly. Yeah, we're talking about Spence Crawford, and you want that's all you guys know about. That's all Mirage knows how to talk about. Benavidez or Canelo. So don't. If you're gonna imitate somebody, don't imitate Mirage. A drunk Australian. Come on.
What did Spence fans say? It's gonna be like this. What did Spence fans say about the Crawford fight? And then he's gonna say, what did Canelo fans say about Benavidez?
Exactly. That's why I asked him preemptively.
It's too predictable. You're too predictable. Solid. It's solid, by the way. Metal Gear.
I'm not even mad. I'm not mad at that.
It's solid.
My question to BDA is. My question to BDA is.
Hold on. Is it Solidus? Is it Solidus or Solidus?
It's from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah,
okay, well, how am I supposed to? By the way, Solidus, I got a question. I'm not too interested in your boxing takes. I'm interested in this. You left comments on the channel, so people on Discord were clicking on your channel, and they found out that you're into the MGTOW thing. Is that a fair assessment? MGTOW, men go their own way.
Nah, what? Nah, I do the. There's a lot of dysfunction in my community. I'll talk about it.
Okay, because people were saying, I don't know, they were putting clips. First of all, I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you you got kids, right? Because they were showing your playlist, and there's a bunch of kid videos there, and it was kind of weird. Like your kids are watching.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I can't delete it for some.
No, wait a minute. Come on.
Well, of course, you'd want to delete it after you watched it, right?
I never looked at it. It just popped up.
What's this got to do with Errol Spence and Crawford anyway?
Because I told him I'm not interested in these boxing things. I'm interested in that. I just want to clarify things because there's kids cartoons on your playlist.
Don't worry. I'm not a sex offender or nothing.
What's wrong with cartoons? What's wrong with cartoons, man?
Well, nothing if you're a kid. Nothing if you're a young.
Man, I live at home with my mum. I live at home with my mum.
They're trying to do personal sort of stuff when they can't argue against the boxing takes. They go personal.
Yeah, but okay. Well, I don't care what you got to say either to me, Raj, about boxing. I'd rather talk to you about something else.
That's your mistake.
That's your trash takes. I've heard your trash takes for 2.5 years. But hold on. Hold on. You stop interrupting, Mirage. But Solidus, okay. So what's the issue with your community? What's the issue?
I want to talk boxing. Seriously, to be honest, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about.
I don't want to talk boxing with him, though. I mean, it's always the same thing.
I'd rather talk boxing with somebody else. And like I told Mirage, the Benavidez thing, let's put it on ice for one show.
Hey, you're a Mexican. You would never understand. Stay in your lane.
That's why I was trying to ask. That's why I was asking you to explain it.
This is not for you. My concept, you're a Mexican guy. You'll never understand. Let me ask you.
Hold on. That's why I was telling you.
Do you date black women?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about BDA. Do you date black women?
What you want to? So you want me to talk about it, even though I won't understand it, or you're telling me you're telling me I won't understand. You're telling me I won't understand it. Now you want me to talk about it. Which one is it? You want me to talk about it? Or?
No. You want to talk about it. I really don't want to talk about it. It is kind of weird. I came to talk about boxing.
Black women to understand black women, right?
He doesn't date black women, so why would he ask me about how it's like to do a black woman?
This is getting boring.
So that's like that Douglas Murray argument over at Joe Rogan's the other day when he's like, well, you can't talk about the Palestine-Israel conflict if you've never been there. It's like, what? I was asking him to explain it. Yeah, and I was asking Solidus, whatever his name is, to explain it. I wasn't taking a position either way. I was asking him.
All right, what do you want to get out of this?
Well, I mean, okay, but now you're asking me what I want to get. I want an explanation of what your position is.
I just said there's a lot of dysfunction in the black community. I'll talk about it.
Okay, well, listen. That Bucho is saying we got to stick it to boxing, but I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious about it. So, if maybe we should talk about it behind the scenes, set something up for a specific show.
Second Renaissance.
To be honest, I'm actually down to do that. Yeah, we can do
something. On the Renaissance, and give us your take on the community, what you're trying to do, and all that shit.
Because I feel like you wouldn't understand because you're a Mexican dude. Y'all don't have the same problems with y'all women like we do.
That's fine.
Well, you'd be surprised at how open-minded I am about these subjects, and especially if
that might be true. What I'm saying is, I've dated like 2 Mexican women in the past. They're not as toxic and dysfunctional as black women.
Oh, wait a minute.
Some Mexicans are pretty toxic.
That might be true, but the ones I dated, I didn't. They weren't.
That's anecdotal, isn't it?
Cool, more ladylike, girlfriend material. I can do a serious thing. Family was hating on me though, because
why not?
Mexicans don't really like niggas. You know how that is. But other than that,
you can say that
it was
victim.
Not all. Not all. There's a lot of good Mexicans out there. I know plenty. because you know.
Well, you know what? I already
but
interviewed
a lot of
somebody
that
about
goes
this.
on though.
I interviewed somebody about the specific subject on second renaissance. So, like I said, you'd be surprised at the type of understanding I can glean from this. But I want to glean even more understanding.
That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. We could do something like that. That's not a problem.
All right, you guys do it on the second renaissance, all right? What else? We've been here
Well, we're 2 hours in, Butch.
2 hours in. I don't know. Did we talk about everything that had to be talked about?
This is the end of the show.
Do we know who's on the undercard of this fight?
Yeah.
Schofield's fighting. I mean, not Schofield. Raymond Ford's fighting.
Raymond Ford.
Who's he fighting?
Matisse. Or Matisse. I don't know how you pronounce his name.
Damn, Lucas? No, I'm playing.
No.
Yeah, so what's everybody's prediction? The main event, Boots and Stanionis. What's everybody's prediction?
Boots decision.
Boots by decision.
Oh, Boots decision.
Boots by decision. Yeah.
7-5, unanimous.
You said Boots 7-5.
Yeah.
I got Boots by robbery.
Why you say robbery?
He's messing with you.
Boots by stoppage.
No, I think
beat down. Boots beat down on my prediction.
Yeah, it's going to be a Boots. Yeah, it's going to be a Boots beatdown. It'll be a one-sided fight, I think.
Ooh.
Well, what's your prediction?
Why do you think? No, for real though. Why do you think? Why do you think it's going to be a robbery?
What's your prediction?
What's up?
What's your
I
prediction?
think he's fucking with you, bro. He's messing with you.
No, I think Boots going to win. He's the better fighter. He should win, rather. He's the better fighter. I think he's going to win. And
yeah, but the boys brought up a good argument earlier. The guys brought up a good argument earlier about his weight training and how he hasn't been looking in tip-top shape. And a lot of people have made the argument that he may be coming into this fight compromised just because of the weight train. And it's been a lot. I mean, he's 27. He's growing into his body more. He's really killing himself to make that weight. And I think the more he stays there, he could incur a lot more damage. You saw the last fight; he was a lot more hittable. He's been looking more hittable. So I think that if you're going to weight train yourself that much, it's going to compromise your reaction time and your speed. So I think it'd be better move for him to move up after this fight.
Yeah,
he's got to move up to the weight.
Just looking at that picture, don't looking at that picture that everybody was, that went viral in the boxing community. He looks terrible. He whatever happens in this fight, I think he's gonna win. He should move up in weight. Forget about trying to unify the division.
yeah, I actually agree with that. I've been saying he should have went to 54. He was supposed to fight your boy Ortiz earlier this year, but he wanted to stay and fight for the belts at 47. I felt like he should have did that shit. Just go to 54 and just fight Ortiz.
He even
it's a
said
winnable fight.
after that terrible performance against Karen, that rematch, he said that he was struggling to make weight. So
I
why
saw
are you
that,
doing that? But then, during that same interview, he started saying, "Oh, I want to unify the division." Or Eddie Hearn said that.
He changed his mind. Yeah. I guess he was confused about what he wanted to do. But yeah, I heard when he said that.
No, because again, I keep saying there's money at 147. You have these guys moving up. Ryan Garcia, that's a big fight. If he moves up in weight, that fight's over.
With Eddie Hearn, to be clear, with Eddie Hearn, if he stays with Eddie Hearn, there's money to be made because he will be fighting more than once a year, and he won't be relying on a crowdsource funding boxing. So hopefully he stays there. Because if he doesn't stay there, that's a horrible career move. I don't know who's managing his career, but we've seen some pretty piss poor career managements right now, especially like Tim Zhu and people like that. Like it's pretty bad. Who's the kid? Schofield. His dad. I had high hopes for the new generation, but they ended up being like Haney and his dad, or Lopez.
Even worse,
dad.
man.
It's terrible. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that duo. But the dad's running the show. It's no good.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just real quick, somebody posted a video right now on the Discord. I don't know. I was trying to fast forward through, but I couldn't find the specific timestamp. But apparently Shakur Stevenson's at this fight, and they asked him about Turki Al-Sheikh, and he said, "Fuck Turki Al-Sheikh."
What?
Disagreement over money.
Who said? Okay, what?
Shakur Stevenson is at the fight or some event, and they asked him about Turki Al-Sheikh, and apparently the title of the video, I couldn't find him actually saying it, but the title of the video is Shakur Stevenson says "fuck Turki Al-Sheikh."
That could be clickbait, rage bait. It's got to come from his mouth.
I mean, that sounds like something he's doing, right? He's an emotional little pro.
Yeah, I'm looking at videos where people are posting these people are posting these stories about Canelo already been knocked out by Crawford. So there's a lot of people tweeting out. Yeah, there's a lot of Canelo's on the floor on the canvas, all bloody. It's dumb. People are doing all kinds
the
of
hype's
crazy
gonna.
shit.
A lot of people are gonna start picking Crawford as we approach that fight.
Oh yeah.
Just watch.
I mean, hey,
After the
You
skull
talking
fight,
about
he might
Canelo's
change
not
his
even going to
mind.
get past William Skull.
After the skull fight, I think Canelo's going to struggle.
Wait.
You're going to be picking Crawford.
Telkines, are you picking Skull? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm picking Skull.
Well, there you go.
No.
He's gonna win unanimously, but they're gonna give him a split decision. So yeah, it's gonna be like Frankie Randall versus Chavez Senior.
Well, the rematch you're talking about.
You think Skull is that good?
Oh yeah, I know Skull's that good.
Real? I mean, okay. Wow, you should have joined the.
Break it down, man.
We had a watch party of some of his fights. You should have been there, man. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a very good video that you made of that. The whole build up of that fight. That's a great job, media.
Yeah, thanks.
That was Bucho.
No problem.
Yeah, but that was Bucho. Great job.
Thank you. So what do you see in Skull that is impressed you?
Well, he has decent enough footwork. I'm not really worried about the footwork. His upper body movement is very good. It kind of reminds me of Nicolino Loche, the way he makes you miss while standing right in front of you. So
William Skull.
Yeah. So this is going to be it's an interesting style.
You think he got a chance to beat Canelo?
He's gonna beat him.
Oh yeah. He's gonna it's gonna be on points. He's
favoring Skull to beat.
How are they going to give
Place a
him
bet
a
on it.
points
It's like
decision over Canelo, man? That's not happening.
12-1.
Canelo ducked William Skull for like 2 years. So
you're trying, man. So I don't think they would never give him a decision.
No, I'm speaking the facts. Canelo ducked Benavidez. Canelo ducked William Skull. And now Skull's forced him. That's the difference between Skull and Benavidez is he actually forced Canelo.
Man. Let me talk. But I think it can be a difficult and ugly fight for Canelo, and he's not going to look impressive. That's what I think. But he'll win. That's what I think.
Well, Telkines is
saying he's going to put him on his ass. William Skull will put him on his ass.
All right, man.
And win by decision.
Okay, but he won't. Okay, what?
Yep.
So by extension, then how do you rank Shishkin, the guy that Skull beat? Do you think he would also beat Canelo, or at least give him a tough fight?
I think Shishkin is definitely a strong fighter. He was quite a bit bigger than William Skull. Yet William Skull made him go for shots that left him open to counters. So yeah. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed watching that fight.
I like these takes, man. I like this type of take. He's putting his money where his mouth is. I think. Did you say you had money in the Discord? I think. Telkines, didn't you say you had Are you betting for this fight, the Skull Canelo, or?
Oh, I actually retired from gambling back when Andy Ruiz defeated Anthony Joshua. I won big, so yeah, I've been staying away from gambling.
You're set for life.
That was you got a package from the fight.
He's done. He's retired.
Hey! When a Mexican fat man helps you win money, you're good, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when Telkine speaks, you listen.
There might be something here with Telkine, what he's saying. Huh.
You go to Gamblers Anonymous, or?
I definitely went to Gamblers Anonymous. It was a very enlightful process.
Great.
Oh, good for you.
I'm intrigued. I want to hear more from Telkines as this fight develops.
Jump back on as we approach this fight.
Yeah, I'm happy that Canelo finally realized that Skull is the goods. And
he's gonna beat him. You think he's gonna beat him by knockout or unanimous decision or knockout?
Pre-fight video show tomorrow?
Yeah, Skull.
BDS.
He's just too slick for Canelo, man, and you're gonna see it on Fight Night.
So he's got good movement. He's gonna be evading all the shots that Canelo's gonna throw at him, and he's gonna be popping them.
He's got good movement.
He's gonna be exchanging. He will be exchanging.
He'll be exchanging. Oh,
Yeah, that's his style, man. I mean, he likes to trade there, but I don't know if he's gonna do that against Canelo or who knows. If he does, then good for him.
yeah.
I'll put it to you this fight. This fight will be a hell of a lot better than Berlanga.
Yeah,
Probably. But hey,
Yeah, 'cause
Sherman,
that was boring.
Sherman, I'll bet you $100 that he doesn't beat him.
Hey, do you think Canelo will finally be able to get a
Stop
knockout?
betting, man.
Will be able to knock this dude out?
What's that?
Yeah, don't encourage him.
Doesn't encourage you.
Will
What's
Canelo
that?
finally be able to get a knockout? It's been like 4
You know what,
years.
Mira? I think he will get a stoppage in this fight.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about that, dude. That dude's pretty big. I don't know if they're gonna knock him
Did you
out.
see the face off? You know, I'm gonna take that back. But it's
Huge, bro.
Rafael Garza, thank you for your super chat. He says, Mr. BDA might not know Kung Fu, but he knows who Flung Dong is. Who the fuck is
That's
Flung
right.
Dong? What?
Now, flowing down.
He wants to see everything.
Yeah.
He wants to see everything. Yeah. You wanted to show him everything, so I think that's what
I want to see it all.
He wants to see it all, dude.
That's what I told the hookers.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Hey, where's
We're
Chief?
done, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't worry about it.
I like, when it comes to the so-called boxing historian, I don't think he is. I'm interested in doing a debate with him. Can y'all set that up?
Oh, he hates us.
You could stay on. I think he's gonna.
Because I'll shut that shit. All that little
Oh, wait,
stupid
who are
shit
you
he was
talking
saying, I'll
about? The
shut
boxing
that shit down.
librarian? Oh.
The guy that said he's a historian and said I was a
Chief,
fan.
Chief. I thought he was saying
Chief. Chief's pretty good, knowledgeable, dude.
Yeah, he knows a lot. But we can set up a debate. I don't know. What do you want to debate?
Nah, because I know what he's going to do. He's going to try to bring up stuff that I might not know about, thinking that's going to prove him wrong.
No.
But I'll shut him down.
Okay, why don't you pick the subject?
Yeah, pick the subject that you know about, and then you debate him. And
Subject that and then exactly.
Yeah, we have a kumite.
Exactly. Yeah. Pick whatever you want and just ask him. You should even ask him on the spot.
I know. Actually, I talked to Chief about it, and he said he's down for a debate with Solidus.
Yeah.
So anyway,
last time I was on, the phone was going. I couldn't really hear, so I just got off. But yeah.
It's best if you.
Yeah. Was that?
But what were these guys debating, though?
No, I think Chief wanted to debate Jerry, but he's also down to debate anybody.
Geriatric Jerry?
Yeah.
Nah, come on.
I'm down to debate Mirage or Solidus.
Hey, Solidus.
No, Mirage. It's the same thing. Unless he wants to, I don't know.
Okay, Solidus. I'm down to debate you.
All right, there you go. We'll have a kumite. We'll have a kumite this week.
I just got one question for Solidus. What happened in the Mayweather Castillo rematch again? I forgot.
I know what you want. You the guy that be you the guy that's always trolling me. That's you.
Yeah, but what happened in the rematch? What happened again?
Now he knows.
Mayweather Castillo.
Now he
rematch.
I'm not even gonna say it because I know what you're gonna do. It's a trap. It's a troll.
It's a trap.
All right.
You already know.
Let's.
You already know I know, but you're asking me anyways. Troll.
Your will is strong.
I'm not even gonna answer.
Hey, Telkines, you want to debate somebody for a kumite or something?
I've already destroyed everybody in the debate, so I'm not really.
All right.
Well, if you want me to take part in the kumite, I mean, I'm down.
You're 50-0, right?
A lot more on politics, Discord, and all that, man.
Oh, damn.
Shit. I'm like a legendary status, man. I have thousands of wins.
Oh wow. All right.
And he still has a virginity, which is impressive. He never lost that either.
Come on. Wait a minute. What?
Okay.
So is there going to be a pre-fight show tomorrow? Y'all doing?
Maybe not. I don't know. There's definitely a post-fight show, but that's on Sunday. I don't know. You usually have the pre-fight shows when it's a big fight Tomorrow's fight is not that.
Yeah,
big.
if it's a big fight, there's a post-fight show and then a post-fight show on Sunday.
Yeah, and then there's a pre-fight show, and I just leave the whole thing running, the open line.
Yeah.
But I don't think everybody's hyped up for tomorrow's fight. It's a good fight. Very
But
good.
y'all doing the calling show on Sunday, you said.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I guess we can call it a night if there's nothing else.
That's it, gentlemen.
Yeah. Have a good night.
I think did Mirage leave?
No, he's waiting just in case.
No, I'm here.
Damn it. Oh God. David Benavidez.
Thank you for joining the show, guys. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Take care. Everybody on YouTube, I hope you enjoyed the show. I don't know what I'm talking like that. Yeah, good show. I mean, we talked about what we had to talk about, and we will see you Sunday for the post-fight show. We might have there's always a chance of an emergency show. You know, you guys know this. If something crazy happens, like Boots Ennis gets stopped or something like that, then we will have an emergency show. Other than that, it's on Sunday. And as you guys heard me earlier, we might have a kumite this week. So we'll have some debates one-on-one. Having said that, guys, have a good night. Take care.
Listos pelos chingazos. Listos pelos chingazos.
I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. There's gotta be